This is Schmier from Destruction, and you're listening to the FANTASM Podcast. Keep it rough, keep it metal. Cheers.
Phantasm. This is Philip H. Anselmo.
Hi, this is from Creator.
Chambry, Bassberry, Napalm Death.
This is Alex from Crisium. This is Max Colasny from Crisium.
This is Lee from Monstrosity.
Hey, this is Chris from Cryptopsy.
Hey, this is Matt from Cryptopsy.
This is Will from Cryptopsy. Rush Dolan from Immolation.
Name is Kim Borey.
This is Ben from Goat Whore.
Sammy Dewey from Goat Whore.
This is Martin Vadrunen from Asphyx, and you're listening to
Phantasm Podcast.
Hey, this is Chris Barnes from 6 Feet Under. You're listening to Corey Gorechrist and Dr. Vince West on the Phantasm Podcast.
This is Frank from Suffocation. The Phantasm Podcast goes down fucking smooth.
What the fuck is up, and welcome to the Phantasm Podcast. I am Corey Gorechrist, with me
Dr. Vincent West.
Hey. What's up, my friend? Hello. And apparently...
And we also have Tuna on the show. Big Tuna. You know him as Big Tuna. I think Mrs. Gorechrist is coming. I think that's what it is.
Oh. Okay.
We also have her in a second. We got a killer fucking show for you guys today. We have Schmier from Destruction on the show. He's a fucking living legend of Teutonic thrash. Very respected band. Destruction's fucking amazing. If you guys have never seen them or picked up one of their records, get on the fucking ball, people. It's goddamn Destruction. The Doctor had a great time speaking with him, as well as the other band members. Here
one of the best experience. I mean, Schmier is the best guy. We were all hanging out, but Schmier's amazing, and I got to hang out with him all night. And got to hang out beside him, right beside the stage with him, and it was a great experience. And
Schmiers and beers for the Doctor.
It was awesome.
And
it really was.
The film is also very, very special to us here at Phantasm. It's a different one. We're on a roll here with the Mindbenders, I think, because we just did Scanners. Tuna loves this film. He's a huge fan.
Apparently,
he actually has a lot of he has some acting credits in this film as a you look up Tuna on IMDb, he's in this film. What do we got?
Lawnmower Man. Finally,
Job Smith is the Lawnmower Man. A man.
Joe, come on, boy, let's go. Grass is waiting for you.
With the mind of a child.
Yeah, Cybo Man. He came to see me.
Cybo Man. Comics, right?
Yeah, Cybo Man.
And a doctor.
Virtual reality holds a key to the evolution of the human mind.
With a vision of the future.
I have a game in my house that you might like to play. Would you like that? Yeah. Okay. That was really bad. I have different games. I even have one that could help make you smarter.
Now, Job Smith is about to enter the world of virtual reality.
It's gonna hit me! No, Joe, just relax. It's gonna be like being up there with the stars, Joe. They're going to another planet. His mind is like a clean, hungry sponge. I just graduated to the next level, Joe.
You're not the Lawnmower Man. You've certainly changed. I don't know how you did it, but I approve.
I absorbed Latin yesterday in less than 2 hours.
Joe, where are you? Joe.
A world where the normal course of events can suddenly turn inside out.
You realize, Dr. Angelo, that my intelligence has surpassed yours.
The imaginary becomes real.
Trying to get inside my head, Joe.
You can't hide anything from me, Dr. Angelo.
And reality.
We have no idea what he's gonna do.
Is all in your mind. The Lawnmower Man.
Jeff Fahey just came out from Scream Factory. It's something that everybody's been asking about since Blu-rays existed. This is one of those films that just it was really ahead of its time as far as technology, and it's a mind-bender film. We just did Scanners, now we're on to Lawnmower Man. I feel like we're on a really good... We're coasting right now.
Definitely.
We're on a really good roll here with the films we're doing. And this is, Jeff Fahey, Pierce Brosnan, if you guys are following along, just hit the screen here.
The Terrence stuff's up, isn't it?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm sharing it right now. On
so yeah, there it is on the screen, the Lawnmower Man. So hopefully you guys are following along on the telly there, wherever you guys are.
Oh, it's a damn dog.
Oh, there's another dog. So Tuna's wanting to fuck. So,
Should I put this on Kevin's too?
Yeah.
You think?
I haven't seen this film since I was little, but this movie, it used to scare me, but it's one of those films I used to always watch, even when it scared the shit out of me. It was just very strange. It's a good blockbuster movie when it came out, like the video store blockbuster. It was very good. Or Hollywood Video, or wherever you guys are from. This print is fantastic. It looks amazing. I don't know if you've watched this yet. I'm sure you have. But
yeah, I have.
This looks.
I watched the director's cut, though. I haven't watched.
This looks incredible.
This does. It looks pretty good.
So props again, to Scream Factory, keeping it real and giving us best print you could possibly do. Although Arrow's coming up, Arrow's always really good too. And Scream Factory put out The Thing, which is probably still my favorite print that they've released. But it's a 2K scan now. Arrow's coming around and doing the 4K scan of The Thing, so that just blows it out of the water, for us collectors here. And there's a nice chimpanzee fucking headshot kill. That's nice. Fuck War of the Planet of the Apes. This is the real shit right here. You already got this chimp fucking killing people, just insane. Monkey Shines used to scare me, and then now you got this shit. But yeah, be on the lookout for Arrow's 4K scan of The Thing for you collectors out there, and you John Carpenter fans, you Thing fans, Kurt Russell fans, Keith David fans, Wilford Brimley fans, sci-fi fans, whatever. Even Rob Bottin fans, So definitely be on the lookout for that. I'm really excited for that myself. So yeah, I'm excited to see what the artwork's going to be for it, because Arrow's pretty good about doing putting some really good artwork out there, and some reversible covers too is just really nice that they've been doing lately. So yeah, and on the screen here we got some nasty looking hazmat dudes, and there you see Pierce Brosnan and all his. This is before he did Bond, I think. When he's in his all his chest hair glory. But this film came out in 1992, so I believe we've done 92 for films before. But to refresh your memories, I'll go ahead and list off some titles that came out in 1992. We'll start off, of course, with just the regular films. Then we'll save the horror for last. Unforgiven, which is a awesome fucking Western movie, came out in 1992. Aladdin was huge. One of the biggest movies that came out in 92 was Aladdin. Love that film. Reservoir Dogs, which of course is the Quentin Tarantino, great film. A Few Good Men, which is a great Tom Cruise, Jack Nicholson. That's the You Can't Handle the Truth, that movie or whatever. It's a good classic movie. Batman Returns, which is the sequel to Batman. It's got Danny DeVito as Penguin in it, which is awesome. And let's see what else we got here. Basic Instinct, which is one of my earliest whack-off films, so it's nice movie there. Last of the Mohicans, which was actually filmed in Cooperstown, New York, which was pretty close when I lived in upstate New York, where that movie was filmed, which was pretty cool. Lethal Weapon 3. We got My Cousin Vinny, which was with Joe Pesci, which is a really funny movie. Let's see what else. I think it's where he's like a lawyer or something. I don't really remember. Also has Ralph Macchio in it. The Crying Game. You have Wayne's World, which is The Doctor and I, apparently. So you got The Bodyguard with Kevin Costner, Whitney Houston. It's a great movie. The Mighty Ducks. Love that movie. Don't really have much else to say about that other than it's awesome. Patriot Games with Harrison Ford. You have Sister Act, that was huge that year. The Twin Peaks film, Fire Walk With Me, came out in 92. White Man Can't Jump. Under Siege with Steven Seagal. Three Ninjas, which I loved as a kid.
It's everywhere. Just let our fans, that's how we do this. The Suffocation is on both of Terrence's page. It's on Charlie's page. It's on Kevin's page. And they're getting ready to put it on their page.
Cool.
Sorry, I'm not trying to interrupt you. I love you.
Encino Man.
Love that movie.
Awesome. And a lot of these films right now are on Netflix, so if you guys hear this and you're like, I don't know what the fuck...
Or Hulu.
Yeah, or Hulu.
It's actually on Hulu.
Like, I don't know what the fuck Gore Christ is talking about with these movies. He's just saying a bunch of titles. You guys should already know this stuff. If you're listening to a movie review podcast, you should definitely already know what's going on. Universal Soldier, which is fucking Jean-Claude Van Damme. The movie's awesome. One of his later films that he's done, but it's fucking cool. It's got Dolph Lundgren in it, too.
Fuck yeah.
Definitely something to check out for you 90s action horrors. That film is awesome. And
goodness.
And I had it on VHS, and it fucking rules.
That's amazing.
Let's see. Beethoven. Loved that as a kid, too. Great movie.
Charles Grodin?
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
And House Sitter, Steve Martin, Goldie Hawn. So that's it for that, and we will move on to horror movies. There's a lot of good ones.
Oh shit, I need to pull up music. I don't know.
We have Sleepwalkers, which is a Stephen King. Pet Sematary 2. I'm going to save the best ones for last, of course. So you got House 4.
You know, I've never seen House 4.
I haven't either.
But I will tell you this.
It's in that on that UK box set.
I picked up that House box set from Amazon.
It's cheap, too.
For $24. Now it's $60 again.
Crazy.
I'm not really sure what the deal is with that. Oh my god, have we ever done 92?
Yeah, we did. And we got
there's some good shit on here, records wise.
I got The Vagrant. Here we got Children of the Corn 2. We got one of my favorite horror films, very underrated, just came out on Blu-ray like a year ago, Highway to Hell, which has our boy CJ Graham in it as Hell Cop.
I own that. We can do that sometime.
Critters 4, which is crazy. By 92, they made 4 Critter films.
By the way, real quick, if you don't care, anybody that has Hulu out there, all 4 of the Critters films are on there in high definition.
Awesome.
Which tells me we may get a Blu-ray release at some point. Maybe a box set.
Hope so. Love Critters. It's great. Waxwork 2, Lost in Time, which you can get paired up because they have the double feature from Vestra and Collector's Series on Blu-ray, the Waxwork 2, so pick that shit up if you see it. We got 976 Evil 2. Never seen it. Love the first movie, so something to look for. Maybe you can pick it up and see if it's good. Raising Cain, which I believe is John Lithgow, isn't it?
It is.
And that's a Scream Factory release now on Blu-ray, so you can pick that up. What else we got? A lot of crazy sequels at this point. You got fucking Stepfather 3, Amityville, It's About Time, which I don't even know what that is. Prom Night 4.
Did you say Amityville, It's About Time?
Yeah, I don't even know what that is.
You should actually look that up.
Let me see. No, I'll look at it. Let's see. It's got a 14% rating on Rotten Tomatoes. It says, Widower Jacob brings an old mantle clock back from a business trip to Amityville, New York. However, he and his family are unaware of the clock's dark history. It's not long before Jake, his girlfriend, Andrea, and his children, Lisa and Rusty, are faced with horrifying visions, animal attacks, and the bending of time. The family must fight the clock's evil power before they are possessed completely. That sounds like a fucking turd. But
yeah, that's a stinker, isn't it?
Yeah, that's a fucking boo-boo.
That's a fucking stinker.
Alright, we got...
Stinky.
Move on from that, we got Buffy the Vampire Slayer movie.
I just bought that. That's actually out of print.
It is. Alien 3.
Turd.
Everyone hates it. Pet Sematary 2. Got Bram Stoker's Dracula.
I like that movie.
You got Dr. Giggles, which somebody's got to put that on Blu-ray.
It is on Blu-ray. I have it.
You have Dr. Giggles on Blu-ray?
Yeah.
Who put it out?
Warner Brothers. It's a double feature like that Last Action Hero. It's like about $100. It's actually rare.
What else does it come with?
That Cletus movie or Clyde.
Okay, well that's great that you have it. Of course the doctor has it.
You're
the doctor.
I'll show it. I swear it's real.
Somebody needs to put that out again. I feel like Synapse. That's up your alley. You can put
it's
out
a Warner
Dr.
title.
Giggles.
They won't.
It'll probably be Scream Factory. Scream Factory. Put out Dr. fucking Giggles. You made me happy by putting out the fucking Lawnmower Man cheese. You need to put out the fucking Dr. Giggles cheese. Okay? Just telling you. Alright, now we're getting into the good stuff.
Hold on, before you go any further, I want to just verify this with you. Yeah, see, it's out of print.
That's not bad for $28.
No.
I'll just wait for a full one. That needs a full one. It's a good movie.
Otis, that's what it is.
Yeah,
that movie's a turd.
That's what I'm saying. Dr. Giggles needs its own thing. So yeah, we're at Dr. Giggles.
Plays him. He's dead too.
Yeah. And here we're winding down, folks, to the last few movies, and I'm going to try to do them in order of what I think is the best, leading up to the best of '92, not counting Lawnmower Man, of course. We got Candyman, Dead Alive.
I have that on Blu-ray as well, Dead Alive.
Yep, that one goes for a lot more than that. Hellraiser 3, Hell on Earth. And the best horror film that come out in 1992, and that's the one that we've done on this podcast before, Army of Darkness. Good night.
Yeah.
That film owns 92.
You know what's interesting, though, about that? It wasn't released theatrically in America until 93.
Yeah. But it came out in
Europe got it released. Because I saw it when it came out. I was actually working in a theater as a projectionist, and we got it, and we would watch it every day. Mm-hmm. The late showing, I would just clock out and go watch it. And Tootie Bear's been a buns.
It's been a buns since we started this thing. Come on,
you have been in rare buns form.
Come on. He just wants his couch. He doesn't like when he can't have his couch. Is that your couch?
I've got a surprise for Corey right now. First of all, I want to tell him happy birthday.
Thank you. And he presented me with a bottle opener from Mortician that had the Tall Man on it and the Mortician logo. It's pretty cool. It's got a Dio Magica keychain, which is amazing, and the fucking Hack-O-Lantern, the limited Blu-ray, which is awesome too, from Massacre Video.
Well,
which by the way,
we're going to do something special tonight that I want to do, and I'm not even, I'm in a really good mood. I'm not even going to say why we're doing this, but we're going to do something tonight.
Okay.
And I'm going to do this along after I read the albums of '92. But I want to specifically say that I will challenge my expertise against anyone that listens to our podcast to come up with a better list than this. We're going to name the top 10 tonight on this podcast. I'm springing this on you, but we can do it. I know we can, without having to research and act like a fucking fucktard, and I won't even go any further than that. Of the 10 most influential and beginnings of death metal, we're going to do that tonight. If you're cool with it, we're going to do that. We're going to do that. I'm going to let you start working on that. I'm going to run over 92 just real quick because we've done it
just
before.
Death metal, not just counting 92, but just death metal.
Just death metal.
All right.
Not anything else. Now I'm talking what you consider to be the beginning of it.
Okay.
So we're not doing 92. I'm just reading albums from 92. Gotcha. We're doing literally the beginning of, what you consider to be the top 10 pillars for death metal, and you can't go past 95. It's 95 backwards. So anything that you feel is a pillar that needs to be mentioned. It doesn't have to be the creators of death metal. It just has to be a pillar and a testament of the beginning of death metal. Okay, now I'm going to run through 92 real quick. We got Kiss Revenge. We've got Paradise Lost, Shades of God. We've got Spinal Tap, Break Like the Wind. We've got Impaled Nazarene, Tall Compt Norse. Creator Renewal, Amorphous, the Colin Inthusmus. I'm trying to throw that out there for people that like them. I like some of their stuff, but that stuff's way too early on.
Right.
Sodom, Tapping the Vein. Incantation,
favorite Sodom record.
Incantation, Onward Towards Golgotha. I thought you'd like that. Vital Remains, Let Us Pray. Autopsy, Acts of Unspeakable.
Awesome.
Acts of the Unspeakable, excuse me. Napalm Death, Utopia Banished. Voltar, if you have fans of that out there, the Me Against the Crusade, whatever that is. Unleash, Shadows in the Deep. Suicidal Tendencies, The Art of Rebellion.
Awesome.
Brutal Truth, Extreme Conditions.
Fuck yeah.
Sadist, A Vision of Misery. Dark Throne, Ablaze in the Northern Sky. Immortal, Diabolical Full Moon. I'm not mentioning those because I'm just not giving that band any love. At the Gates, The Red is in the Sky is Ours. And I'm going to give you my number one on the list here in a minute. Ministry, Psalm 69. I'll throw that in there.
Hell yeah.
Black Sabbath, Dehumanizer, Wasp, The Crimson Idol. Iron Maiden, my favorite album, Fear of the Dark.
Awesome.
Dream Theater, Images and Words. Pantera, Vulgar Display of Power.
Fuck yeah.
Danzig, How the Gods Kill, and now the last two records. My favorite, these are the last two, and these are the best two. The Ultimate Incantation, Vader, 1992. And the best album that came out in 1992, in my opinion, that's on this list anyway that I'm looking at, is Cannibal Corpse, Tomb of the Mutilated.
Thank you. Have a good night.
Now, we'll work on our list together. I kind of threw this at Corey tonight. This is inspired by something, and I'm not going to mention it out of professional courtesy to a guest, but we're going to get brass tacks tonight.
Can I give you my first three? If we're going to do a list of 10, can I do 3 in order?
You get to do 10, I'm doing 10. I'm going
to start off with 3 in order if
let's
I
do
could.
It. Please. And you can text them to me if you want. That way we can keep track of this stuff.
Well, I'm just going to tell you the 3 right now.
And by the way, guys listening, I want you all to send us your top 10.
Yeah, by all means. Everyone
send me what you feel are the top. Your criteria is 95 backwards. So 1995 is the cutoff backwards. So your criteria for what you consider to be a testament.
You don't even have to do it in order, but whatever.
No, just but your cutoff is 95. You can't go past 95.
And I'm not going to say I'm done this and go all the way back to 60 something.
No, we're not doing that.
This is where I'm starting at. You ready?
Yeah, give me. We're doing 10, so give me your.
The number 1. I'm going to go 1. We're not going 10 to 1. We're going 1 up.
Okay.
I think that'd be easier if we just get 1, 2, 3 out of the way.
This your favorite for the list. This is your
not favorite. This is the number 1 most influential band in death metal that brought death metal to where it is.
Okay.
What created what was to come of death metal?
Please.
Venom.
Okay. And which record?
Welcome to Hell. Just Venom in general, like. That started extreme music.
We're doing albums here. I'm doing albums.
Oh, we're doing albums.
I messed you up.
I thought you said
no.
bands that influenced death metal.
No, we're doing 10 pillars in death metal. It can be influential.
Records that were pillars
albums,
for death
correct.
metal. Okay.
I messed you up.
Well, that's shitty. Well,
no, it's not. No, it's not.
No, I mean like what I said.
No,
okay. If I were to do, I'm going to do this just to get it out of the way. The 5 bands before we go into records, and none of these will count.
Okay.
The 5 bands I think that made death metal what it was and really started the whole death metal extreme.
We agree
music
on this, so I don't
genre.
even have to.
Here's the 5.
Let him hear it.
Venom, Merciful Fate, Slayer, Possessed, and Death. Done.
Yep.
That's what started death metal, and those are the bands that made extreme music what it was. Really put themselves out there, made a name for themselves. They were heavy, they were different, they were extreme, they still are. So, those are the 5, the list I thought we were going for. To do actual records, I would have to start with Possessed, Seven Churches. I mean, it had the name of death metal in it. It's an awesome record. It also had the horror influence in there because it had the fucking Exorcist, which Cannibal Corpse covered, and it's amazing. So I would start with Possessed, Seven Churches. I mean, that really, if you want to go buy the books with this one for death metal, that would be the first pillar. Would start with Possessed, Seven Churches.
I'm working on my list here, so
okay.
I'm and as I go, I'll release some stuff. I don't really have an order for these 10. I'm going to give you guys 10 things that I think are crucial. These are things you should just own,
right.
or if you have to steal them, I guess whatever. I understand not having money, so I guess as much as I hate to tell you to do that because I like to collect stuff, but
right.
I'm gonna have to go. Again, these are things that I felt when I listened to them were defining genre moments.
Right.
And by the way, there's no criteria. If you want to put more than one album from a band, you can.
Yeah, just send us your shit. Your favorite stuff.
Because I'm doing a double shot on mine, so I'm technically going to have 11.
Well, what would you put for 2 after Possessed? What would be the next pillar for death metal?
You for me, and a lot of people would say the latter of this, but I'm going to say Death Leprosy.
Yeah,
I think Leprosy is more important.
That's what I was there
than
for.
Scream Bloody Gore. I don't have a problem with Scream Bloody Gore, but I think you have to say Leprosy's a defining genre moment. Now, my favorite Death album is Spiritual Healing.
Mine too. I'm right there with you.
But Leprosy, I think, is a defining genre moment.
And I'm right there with you because I was like, Leprosy would have been my next pick for this list anyway. But Scream Bloody Gore, the lyrical themes are awesome. The intensity is there. But when you listen to that and then you listen to Leprosy sounds like death metal is pretty much defined at that point. Because you go Possessed Seven Churches and then Scream Bloody Gore, they're kind of in the same vein, you know what I mean? It's like a continuation of what's going on.
And you also, in this list, you can just say a band if you don't want to pick a record, because I'm going to do that with a couple of mine.
No. Which now we got some 2-player mode here in Lawnmower Man. They're doing the virtual reality. They got a whole fucking chair set up with all this stuff. But yeah, Scream Bloody Gore is a great record. A lot of people would be pissed and be like, why did you do Scream Bloody Gore? It's like, well, this is the Phantasm list, and this is our definitive list. Scream Bloody Gore is great in every aspect. The horror themes are there. The artwork is killer. Like I said, the intensity's there. It's just, if you're going pillars of death metal and you're really setting the foundation for everything else, from up until 95, Leprosy's the better pick because Leprosy was more of a defined record as far as sound. Because Possessed, Seven Churches, and Scream Bloody Gore kind of have a similar taste to it because they're both really fast and they're both heavy and they both have horror themes. Leprosy takes a more lyrical approach as far as like ambitious storytelling, not just like, oh, this is Evil Dead, or oh, this is The Exorcist. This is open fucking casket and pull the plug. It's got themes of horror, but not directly derived from horror movies and taking like horror movies and turning them into music. It's turning death into music, and that's what Leprosy did with the themes that it had. Left to Die. It's fucking awesome. And that's a true definitive death metal record as far as the lyrical themes changed from being completely horror influenced to influenced by death itself and the horrors of reality and not just thematic elements. So yeah, I agree with the Doctor 110%. Leprosy by Death is number 2. Now for number 3, I gotta pick a good one because that's. Are
you keeping track of all this stuff?
Yeah, I'm gonna jump right ahead. You ready?
Well, I've got some stuff here. When you're ready for any of these from me, I've got about 7 here. Already.
Going from Death, Leprosy, and this is 88. I gotta go Butchered at Birth, Cannibal Corpse.
Or even Eaton. I think Eaton gets overlooked. But we'll do a double on that. We'll do a double. Really, the first 3 Cannibal records need to be mentioned in this.
They do.
And
they're kind of like.
In fact, I'm just going to go with what I've got right now
because the next
I put Butchered / Tomb.
Yeah. Well, I picked
the Butchered cover.
That's what I'm saying.
I mean, the Tomb cover is crazy, but the Butchered cover is nuts.
The reason I'm skipping over Eaton, and that still will always be my favorite Cannibal record. Because it's the first shit I heard. But going from Death's Leprosy and the themes that it brings out, and even the cover with the leper with the face or whatever, and this, it's awesome. I think making the jump over Eaton and straight to Butchered, this takes one extreme to another, and you got the lyrical content down for just actual realistic death thematics, and then Cannibal Corpse turns it completely upside down with just brutality and gore and a whole nother side of horror and what it brings into music itself. So you got the comic themes of it, and you got the actual just like nasty stuff that people weren't really bringing to the table at the time.
Do you know who I think is just as important? They're not on this list, but I'm telling you this. This is my opinion. The self-titled Rigor Mortis record needs to be mentioned when talking about
death metal. Period.
I don't know how it can't be. I mean, that cover, there's like a blood splotch, and they're all like, and also and it's amazing.
I want to say our best on this podcast from Doctor and I both go out to Bruce Corbett.
Sure, one of my heroes.
Hopefully, just Godspeed, brother. We're here for you, and hopefully, everything ends up working out. Just keep fighting, and you're a huge part of what we do, and we respect you and everything you brought to music. So, just want to say that, not to bring the mood down, but to keep things positive. So, thank you, and just keep fighting, man.
That's Corey Dallas Page. I had to. You walked right into that if we talked about it. Morbid Angel Covenant is the first one I wanted.
That would be 4? After Butchered?
I'm just putting it's on my list. I think that's the genre-defining moment for that band.
It is.
It just is.
You got Day of Suffering. What else do you want? What else do you want?
It just...
World
I don't
of
know.
Shit.
It's just...
I think that's where they really got their sound completely down, because, Altars, I went back and listened to it a lot lately, and I love it. It's the more I listen to it, it kind of sounds like the thrashy record, but then the more I've listened to it lately, it's actually just...
What?
I don't know. I like it. The riffs are really strong, Altars, but I'm going from there to Covenant.
Oh, I got you.
How much they've changed, but
Bloodstone's Sec, I think is
it's great, but it's a little slow though.
I think Covenant is just, I think it's a pillar in what I'm talking about. I think, and if you look at the sales on it, it's got about everything beat.
Yeah,
it was
huge when it came out.
Malevolent Creation, Retribution,
nasty.
There are people.
The fucking artwork.
Wheelchair Fucker would go with their first album. I argue that. I'm still going. No, Stillborn's my favorite album, but Retribution, Stillborn's after. That's the third album.
Yeah.
But the Retribution is that record's a masterpiece. Every song on it, I think it's outstanding, and it's nasty, and it has Rob Barrett on it, and it's just really good. Suffocation, Effigy of the Forgotten.
Can't not mention that.
There are some people that would argue, and you've got a good argument if you're going to say Pierce from Within, because it is 95.
It's not Mike Smith though.
But musically, it is. It's unbelievable. But I've still got to go Effigy as a genre-defining moment.
Yeah.
A Mortician Hacked Up for Barbecue.
First thing I really implemented.
I think
themes as far as actual samples of the themes.
I still think that band doesn't get any credit. That record's a masterpiece. No. I don't care if it's his grandmother on a drum machine. I don't care what it is. It's still amazing. If you have hang-ups with that, don't listen to it. I don't care. If you're into brutal death metal and you like really nasty music and you like horror movies and it's everything that Corey and I try to do, I feel like that band already did in 1996.
Another one for you.
Sure.
Monstrosity, Imperial Doom.
I've already... We're on the same, yeah.
Monstrosity, another band that doesn't get any love.
Imperial Doom, it's where George came from, and it's the first thing he did. And
Lee Harrison, you guys.
Well, Lee is a close friend, a good friend, and a very dear friend of this podcast.
Yeah.
Imperial Doom, and it's on my list. It's right here. Very important. This one's going to probably surprise some people, but I'm going to, and I'm doing this because of the retro value to it. Dia Sodomon, Feasting the Beast.
Oh, it's great.
Which proves, for all the criticism that Glenn got for using that voice track thing on the first self-titled D-side record, well, go listen to that. Go listen to him on Feasting the Beast. There's no voice stuff on that.
Yeah.
And it's nasty and it's raw and it's 93, so it's still before our cutoff. And it's actually like late 80s. It's like 87, 88, 89, when all that stuff is all compiled together, those things. And you can find that it has a high price tag, but it's great, and that's what I'm going to throw there for that. I also put... I'm not going to go into who said this, but some pissant with a denim jacket that probably team kills on Friday the 13th. Had the nerve to say that Cannibal Corpse was a cookie cutter Mickey Mouse band. Well, it wasn't cookie cutter in the 90s, and it wasn't cookie cutter. It's not cookie cutter to me. And you really ought to get your head out of your ass and go listen to some stuff that has Chris Barnes on it, because there is nothing cookie cutter about anything that Chris ever did with that band, except maybe the bleeding.
Well,
because the first 3 records are nasty and they're brutal, and even Chris's lyrics on the bleeding. Even though I'm not a fan of the music on that record, I like Stare Through the Eyes of the Dead. The rest of the record, I'm kind of like, eh.
It was a great intro to a record, and then it's just kind of
Fucked
with a Knife's great.
It is. Pickaxe Murders is good too, but I just
there's good stuff.
The hits were not really stuff that I cared for, but anyway, that band's not cookie cutter. And if you don't like Chris Barnes and you don't know anything about this genre, you need to just press stop on this recording, because you don't know anything about death metal, because the guy's
helped define it.
Well, he's still getting paid for
also
somebody
carried
to do.
And
I've got nothing but love for him. And that's not a shot at George or the rest of what their Cannibal continues to do as a band, but I recognize that for what it is.
No, definitely.
Reality's reality, and if you don't believe me, watch Ace Ventura. That's not Corpse Grinder, that's Chris.
Yep. I'll give another. Speaking of New York death metal, I'll give a shout to. This may not technically be a pillar, but I think it is, just in the fact of it being different and a change of pace, but still, a vicious record would be Dawn of Possession by Immolation.
I have Immolation. It's right here. And I want to talk about that. Immolation is one of those bands where my favorite Immolation album is Majesty and Decay.
Oh, it's ridiculous.
But it's on here. It's right here. Let's talk about Immolation for a minute. I like Immolation because Immolation has never changed. And the only record that they sort of... They've missed me on a couple of records, but the band has never stayed. And I think Ross Dolan has one of the best studio and live death metal voices I've ever heard in my fucking life. He's brutal. I wish my hair would grow to my feet. It doesn't, but his does. He's so nice, and him and Bob are both great people.
Yeah.
Their new album is fantastic.
Kicks ass. So tell me to get it now.
But I have to say, yeah, they're definitely on there, and they deserve more credit than they get. I don't think they really get enough of their due. But, maybe that's a good thing. Maybe that's what keeps them continually putting out good records and continually
I think,
to
if
stay.
I may, as a defense here, just for anybody that had any doubts about it, as far as what we're trying to compile here for a list, I think what sets them as a pillar of death metal, and Dawn of Possession being a pillar of death metal and part of our list, is that you think of 91 whenever it came out. There's so much death metal already there.
And so much grunge shit.
Yeah, but when you listen to Dawn of Possession, it's fresh and it's new. It's something you haven't really heard in the genre before.
It is.
And it stays
And they didn't use Scott Burns, which we talked... You guys go listen to our interview.
He's the guy that did Creator and shit in Germany.
Correct.
And they
were real big into the Teutonic stuff, which we are as well. And
that's why we're here with Schmier.
And we're here with Schmier tonight. This all
perfect.
works together. But yes, and you got to give...
So that's my defense, is that it's
I would almost, for me, I would almost have to go Here and After, just because I love that cover art.
Mm-hmm. No, it's great.
Dawn of Possession's a better album, and Dawn of Possession has great cover art. But Here and After is something that I've really gotten into lately. I don't know why. I really like listening to that record when I drink. But
that's great.
But yeah, my favorite Immolation album is, and people make it's Majesty and Decay. I think that record,
my favorite too,
is it's unbelievable.
Ridiculous. It's one of the heaviest albums I've ever heard.
The production on that record is perfect. It has perfect production on it. I don't know. It's just really, really good. But yeah, that band, they need to be mentioned very heavily. And as far as I'm concerned, New York and Florida in the late '80s and early '90s, that's it. Because I hate to tell you, California, you didn't have it together. The only band that had it together out there was Possessed. And I throw a small bone to Autopsy because I have a small liking for that band, but I think
we could put Severed Survival on there.
Yeah,
not as a pillar, not as an
it's
honorable mention.
Yeah, I'll put it as an honorable mention. I don't know. I like that band, but I don't know. It's weird. I'll probably never get them after I just said that, but whatever. I just don't. I own their stuff and I like the band, but I think they're overrated.
Yeah.
I think they get more credit for stuff. It's like you guys were playing with Chuck and then you went back to California and started a band, so you're kind of just licking his boot heels as far as I'm concerned. Because Death isn't overrated. His fans that think that they know everything about him, even though they never saw him, I think are. But I keep my memories with me because I saw the man on every tour that he did from Spiritual Healing forward. I saw every tour, and I'm very proud of that. And I was a fan of his music, and I thought he was different, and I think he's a genius. And this is another one I want to mention. I think this is, and I know some people don't really. There's like a toss-up between these two records, but I'm going to have to say, and I'll just get these out of the way real quick, as genre-defining stuff for me, and that's Cryptopsy, and I think you can just...
None So Vile.
Of course.
Oh, yeah.
And then Gorgut's considered dead. Erosion of Sanity,
Nasty.
I'm not saying it's considered dead for me.
It is, yeah. Me too.
Erosion of Sanity's great.
It's great. Yeah.
But I'm more of a considered dead guy. We can put them both. If you want to put them both, it's fine. Whatever.
Here's one. Here's a very, very good one, I think.
Okay.
Here's one and I don't think anybody would disagree, even though I'm putting this on there because it kind of set a new genre within death metal itself when it came out.
Okay.
And that's Harmony Corruption, Napalm Death.
Oh, yeah.
Sorry, let me just ruin it. Over here.
Mick Harris's drums were genre-defining in and of themselves.
Well,
before that album came out, even.
They're great anyway, and to mention
that album really did set another. It added a new pillar to death metal. It also raised the bar for heaviness and speed, and it kind of wiggled in the genre grindcore into the subgenre of death metal. That was one of the little parts of it.
But I want to be real clear real quick that Entombed is not a death metal band. Carcass is not a death metal band. And I'm tired of them being mentioned in death metal conversations when they're not death metal bands. They're not. I'm sorry.
It's one of the... I don't know.
Vomitory was a death metal band.
I don't know who wrote the book that makes people...
Here's the...
I don't know who wrote the book that tells everybody that
European death metal, there's one band, and it's not Entombed, it's Dismember. If you want to argue that with me, then message me. Dismember is the genre-defining band from that scene. Not Vomitory, Dismember. Dismember is the best European death metal band in the world, in my opinion. Nobody touches them. Nobody touched them. They're the shit. You want to like Entomb, that's fine, but I'm sorry, if you look at that catalog, how can you say that two records are genre-defining?
Well,
you did two records.
They had one death metal record. Well, Claudenstein, I guess, would be...
Right, that's what I'm saying, and that's fine. And that's fine if people like those records, and I get it, the cover art and everything, and I had a friend that liked them, and whatever, and that's fine. But again,
I love them, but they're not
it's more... to me, it's more... I don't know what it is, but it's not
they
death metal.
They had a couple of death metal records.
It's the same as At the Gates. At the Gates is not a fucking death metal band. I'm sorry, they're not a fucking death metal band. I love Thomas Lindbergh's vocals, but that is not a fucking death metal band. That's reality. Sorry, Dismember is a death metal band. That's it. I'm tired of talking with people, and they just want to obsess over that band, and it's like, I'm sorry, Creator buries that band, and so does Destruction, and so does Sodom, and I think they're overrated for having one or two records. And then you turn into like a rock/heavy band, and then everybody has to toot their horn. Same as Carcass. It's like Heartwork is the only like melodic style death metal record that they did, but yet everybody, they're a death metal. No, they're not. They're a grindcore band, and they're not even a good grindcore band. Good grindcore band's Napalm Death. Nobody touches Napalm Death. Thank you, Shane, our buddy. But yeah, that's it. And again, this isn't about. It's about death metal, and I don't know why Europeans want so bad to say that death metal is from Europe. It's not. It's from Florida. I'm sorry, it's from Florida. California, eat a dick. It's from Florida. It's from Florida. All the bands in New York were influenced by the stuff in Florida. They'll even admit that. I've had Terrence talk about it. I've seen Will Reimer talk about it in articles, not live, obviously, because he's doing interviews. They were influenced by that stuff. That's why Cannibal moved to Florida. That's why Malevolent Creation moved to Florida. That's where it all was. That's why Peter Tangren, for you European fanboys, Peter Tangren moved to Florida to start Hypocrisy. Hypocrisy technically started in Florida. Because he knew everything was going on in Florida. You don't have to like it. And I had a comment recently that was made about Glenn Benton. They were making fun of him and calling him the Ted Nugent of death metal and stuff. It's like, no, Glenn Benton's just a badass, and if you don't like him, he'll probably pop you in the mouth. I wouldn't fuck with him. I thought I was going to puke on him when I met him. And I've listened to him my whole life. He was very nice. But, you know, when you go burn an upside-down cross in your head in your late teens, early 20s, give me a call. Because I think he's got balls big enough to put in a dump truck. I wouldn't try to fight him. You can make fun of him all you want, and I'll tell you something else about Deicide. A lot of black metal bands stole from them. A lot of black metal bands.
In the film here, Jeff Fahey's about to dump his dump truck balls all over.
And that girl was in The Wall. She's the one that the Roger Waters character flipped out on.
He
didn't mount her. He just fucking flipped out on her.
Pink walls.
He is. But yeah, I think a lot of black metal bands were influenced by the Florida death metal scene, and they think, well, we need to do something tougher than the Florida band.
Here's another pillar for you, and they get no fucking credit. They get no love for this record either. Let Us Pray, Vital Remains.
Oh, yeah.
92, a very overlooked record.
Rhode Island, so
there was so much shit that came out in 92. You know, some of the greatest death metal records of all time came out in 92. But
I don't think that's a genre-defining moment for them. Their genre-defining moment, to me, is to Christianize.
But that's off our list. That's like
it's
99 or something.
It's 03. Yeah.
Shit.
But it's okay. It takes a while to get your sound and stuff. You know, Jens would argue that. He likes some of that earlier stuff. And I love Tony, and I love that band. And I have a lot of respect for them. I wish they would put a new record out because it's been like 10 years. But literally, it's been 10 years.
Yeah.
But
Forever Underground, that was 97.
But it's you know, you have certain bands that are going to define stuff in these genres and stuff, but I'm tired of people talking about Entombed in the same breath as Deicide and Malevolent Creation and Monstrosity, and it's bullshit. They're not a death metal band.
Somebody wrote it somewhere. It's in Wikipedia or something, and people just have to say it. It's like a
because if you put
it's like a tick. I don't know where it comes from.
That piece of shit band that rock starred us on here.
I don't know where it comes from though. Somebody wrote it somewhere, and it's like law that people have to put.
That Wolverine Blues Records is a fucking turd.
Just saying, I don't know who wrote it, but somebody.
Well, I can tell you this.
Here's on the cusp of writing, and I'd probably have to split these records. Let's get off the subject about them. We talked about them too much. We're trying to get a good list going here.
Yeah, let's get the good list going.
I'll have to split these because they're both, in my opinion, genre-defining.
Okay.
You do Ultimate Incantation by Vader and De Profundis.
Oh,
which is right there at 95.
100%.
Ultimate Incantation brought a nice touch to death metal 92 when it came out in their debut. But De Profundis in 95, that was crucial to carrying death metal forward, I think. And right on the cusp of 95, that's our cutoff point on the list. But De Profundis is like one of their best records.
Well, again, in the band we were just talking about, gets all this credit, but then nobody doesn't mention Vader, and it's like,
no, Vader is, 92. They've been around just as long, and they're, very genre defining, I think.
Yep, they're also the best band out of Poland too.
Yep, by far. It's just one of those things, De Profundis right at 95, that carried death metal because there wasn't a lot of stuff after 95 really that came out.
Look, and I'll throw a small bone. These are honorable mentions. These are not on the list. I'll throw a small bone to Sinister and Asphyx.
Yeah,
I'm not into those bands. I don't like those bands, but if people, I don't think those bands ever sold out. I think they're hardcore. And I have a lot of respect for them. Mm-hmm. But it's not something that I goddamn sure wouldn't put Pestilence on a fucking death metal list.
It's another thing. I never understood any of that.
That band's overrated. It's like tech death shit or something.
Here's another good mention here, and this is right at the cusp of 95. Black Force Domain, My Boys in Crisium. Right at 95.
That band gets no credit. None.
It's also
zero, and they've also never changed.
It's a pillar.
They put out quality music every time they put a record out. I don't have to ever worry about it sounding like something else that's going on in music. They don't put a record out that sounds like fucking Ghost. They put a death metal record out every time. And
let's talk about this too. Not only the album cover for being in '95, which was still very one of the best death metal album covers ever created, and it's not even gory. It's just very offensive, and it's just badass looking. Let's be honest. It's just badass.
And they make birthday cakes and give to family members.
But, you got Evil Mastermind and then Possession. All the themes in it are awesome. They're the drums itself were very influential. Max is, a great guy. We'd love to having him on here. But that band is one of those bands where kind of the bar was raised in '95. You had Vader coming out with De Profundis, one of their best records they ever put out. And then you had Black Forest Domain coming from fucking South America. And you got, De Profundis coming from fucking Poland. And it just clashes together, and they're two different monsters, They're two different beasts completely. But Black Forest Domain, to me, the drums are... You can't replicate those drums. I don't care how good of a drummer you are, you just can't. And the furiosity of that record and the riffs, and it's just a nasty fucking record. It's one of the best albums in death metal, period. And
Agreed.
And it carries, along with Vader, I think, I'll give them both all the credit in the fucking world, that it carried it further from there. It's like Black Forest Domain and De Profundis came out in '95. Holy shit. It carried it, to this day.
But I want to get another band off this list. At the Gates is not a death metal band. I'm tired of seeing that band pop up in lists. They're not a fucking death metal band. I'm sorry.
Well, they even say themselves that they started the metalcore genre.
But all these hipsters want to wear their denim vests and put that band in a...
Some beer drinking hippie and fucking Decibel made a list somewhere 10 years ago, and then that's what everyone follows, I guess.
And I'm tired of seeing it pop up on stuff, and it's
a good list.
It's offensive to me though, because they're really not that good. And honestly, I like Thomas Lindbergh's stuff that he did better with, like Night Rage and some other bands.
No, it's great. Yeah. Great vocal.
But it's still not death metal.
No, it's not.
And I like his voice, and I like him, but we also watched Decapitated wipe the floor with him.
Yeah.
But,
What's another band you got?
What's another band I have? Well...
Name most of them, as far as the albums.
Well, one that I think is important.
We got Vader, Chrysian, Cannibal Corpse, Death, Possessed, Deicide, Morbid Angel, Malevolent Creation, Monstrosity.
I'm going to tell you about. Well, let's talk about another band that's not making
Mortician. If I didn't,
I want to specifically say this: Obituary is not a death metal band. I'm tired of seeing them pop up over bands that I listen to.
Yeah,
their music's garbage. It's slow. John and his brother are pricks. Donald is a prick. He shafted us at a creator show. And then we get, Terry Butler's cool, but that other douchehole that we interviewed, he was just a fucking pussy. And
did you buy a thing?
Oh. I just don't. I'm tired of seeing them pop up on lists. They're slow, they're boring, and they're overrated. And I'm tired of seeing them pop up. The only good record they ever did was Cause of Death. That's it. Everything else is garbage.
So how do you feel about them?
I'm tired of... They pop up on all these lists, and they're slow and they're dumb. And I'm tired of seeing... They're not even a death metal band. I don't know what they are. They're just crap.
Back. You gotta tell us how you feel.
Oh, yeah. It's crap. I'm tired of seeing them pop up on lists. They're just like entombed. They're like this cancer that makes these people's lists.
Yeah. And, with Cause of Death being on there, I give that album credit for not necessarily being a pillar, because Obituary has always been Obituary. They've never pushed the envelope or doing anything. They're just kind of a band, And I give them credit for Cause of Death. I do. But
I give Millie credit for blowing them off the stage.
But I don't think they should be on every fucking list, period. And I don't think they should really even be considered a death metal band, just because... I guess if you had to pick a genre for them, that's where they'd go. But
Morbid Angel stomps them, Deicide stomps them, Cannibal Corpse stomps them.
They need to stop being on every fucking thing just because they were around and they were big.
And their records didn't sell either. It's another hipster band because their records didn't sell.
Yeah. So it's... I don't know. It's just...
It's a Kohl's denim back patch is all it is. I'm over it. But the reason I mention that, we'll go into the next band that I'm going to mention, and this band doesn't get any credit. I don't think this band This band deserves way more credit than it gets, and for some reason, and I'm not really sure why, but it seems like other bands that kind of, because it bothers me when I see a band like Exhumed get credit for stuff that Malevolent Creation was doing, because to me, and I'm going to go back into Malevolent Creation. Malevolent Creation doesn't get any credit. That band is amazing. They never moved out of the genre. They never put out a crap record. I
think their last record, Dead Man's Path, was fucking awesome.
Yeah, it's really good.
Especially with the
I don't like the production on it, but
no, but I mean, it's a great record as far as a swan song. Definitely awesome record.
Well, they're putting stuff back together. He's just looking for a singer, but
right.
We'll see what comes of that. And I wish Phil all the best with that.
Now they're virtual reality fucking.
I'm a big fan. Yeah, it's kind of cool because it's
really
whatever people want to do with that. But to me, I think bands like Exhumed get credit for stuff that Malevolent Creation was doing before they were even a band.
Yeah,
because Exhumed is nothing but a poor man's knockoff of Carcass, which is not something I'd really be proud of knocking off.
Right.
But again, when you come from a San Francisco sewer, you're gonna act like you know everything. Again, it all came from Florida. I hate to tell you that, Matt Harvey, you're stealing from Florida. Enjoy it, because you still stole from Florida, and you can make fun of those bands and everything else that you opened for, but you were still stealing from them. You were stealing from the New York bands. You were stealing from the Florida bands. Trying to think the next band that I would have to say.
I had one, but I can't remember what the fuck it was.
I'm trying to think of the name of an album. I've got the band. I'm just trying to remember. This is an honorable mention, but I think they deserve to be on this list because I don't feel like he's ever left the genre, and his production value is amazing, and that's Eric and Hate Eternal.
I was going to say, once we got further down on this list, I was going to give an honorable mention.
It's just an honorable mention. It's still past.
King of Kings from 03 is one of the...
02.
Is it 02?
It is.
One of the nastiest records I've ever heard in my entire life.
It is. It's great.
And gets all the credit in the world.
He's what I'll call a torch carrier.
Yeah, or
to me, he's one of the only people. He's one of the only people that I feel like still gets it and tries to keep the genre pure and doesn't corrupt it with deathcore dog shit. And he doesn't produce deathcore dog shit. And I don't know. I have a lot of respect for him, and he rocked Stardust, but whatever. I still have respect for him. I do. I do too. I'm lying him down. I think he's great. I love.
No, he's great
when he does stuff. And their last record was fantastic.
It was.
Infernus, I think is what it was called.
Yep.
But I think people take for granted a lot of this stuff, so they want to put this European dog shit on their lists. You live in America. If you want to live in Sweden and wear an Entomb shirt, then go do it. But
no, you should wear.
But there's still a death and roll.
You should wear a Dismember or a Necrophobic T-shirt, because at least Necrophobic never changed.
There's another honorable mention. That band's awesome.
Nocturnal Silence, 93.
Oh yeah, they're a good band.
One of the best death metal records coming out of Europe.
They're a really good band. And like I said, Asphyx and Sinister, I'll give them some. Any of these bands that actually are torch carriers, where they kept doing the stuff and they were. But as far as, and I like black metal stuff, but a lot of the black metal bands, a lot of people like Burzum. I think Burzum sucks. I think their founder is a Nazi faggot, and I think I hope he rots in hell. I mean, he really deserves to be. Yeah, he really is.
He's a white supremacist.
The singer of
Burzum or whatever.
Oh, I don't know.
And I want to also talk about, because this offends me.
You should out him for being.
He's a piece of shit.
He's a piece of garbage, and I'll tell somebody else that's a piece of garbage is the piece of shit that killed himself. What's that band that everybody thinks is so great? And it's another backpatch hipster band.
Dissection.
Yeah, that guy literally killed a gay couple, and then thought it was funny.
Well, good. I'm glad he produced it.
Yeah, I do too. He's a fucking piece.
He's
a fucking piece of. He's a piece of garbage, yeah. And that's not what this. It makes other people look bad when you have ignorant idiots in your scene. So if people think that my Florida death metal bands are stupid, and you think you're cool wearing a Burzum shirt, you need to die in a car wreck, and then have somebody. And I'll come to your house and pick out your brains and eat them,
and I'll piss on it.
Yeah, and he'll pee on it.
Here's a band that's genre defining, and I'll do the album A Piece of Time by Atheist.
Oh yeah, that's the tech death stuff.
They pushed the envelope, but at the time, tech death was never defined yet. It was still death metal. You had Gorguts, you had Cryptopsy.
What year is that record?
You had Death. I think it was, 91 was Unquestionable Presence, so Piece of Time was 89.
Nice.
Yeah. So, and their last record, Jupiter, was fucking great.
It is a good record.
So that's a great band, and that's something a lot of people overlook. I'd be surprised. I thought they were a hipster band, like now. They're a band that everybody's like, oh my god, atheists, but no one gives them any fucking love. They were, genre defining as far as they were kind of at the cusp of being a tech death band way before that was even thrown around. And they're fucking Florida, Florida death metal.
Mm-hmm.
And they get no credit. They were kind of swept under the rug, and they still are. And that's one of those bands that were really overlooked, and I think they should definitely be in this list. And a lot of especially the New York guys really respected Atheists because they played together so much. If you look on all the 90s death metal tours for like the Florida and the New York bands, Atheist was on all that shit. Suffocation, I know those guys loved Atheist. I don't know if it was Mike Smith or it was Terrence that talked about their time with Atheist and playing shows with them.
I think it was Mike.
Yeah, it's crazy. That was a huge band at the time. Kind of got swept under the rug now. I think Piece of Time belongs on this fucking list, and I also think Unquestionable Presence belongs on this fucking list for Atheists, because they were doing it before it was, before it was like, oh yeah, tech death. It was they were just writing the fucking music, and that's 89. It's impressive. So yeah, definitely, Atheist definitely belongs on this list under death metal and as a pillar of death metal because they brought tech death into the equation. So you have death metal in and of itself with the bands like Possessed and Death that kind of made death metal what it was, and even Cannibal Corpse. And then you have bands like Napalm Death that kind of brought a subgenre of grindcore into the equation of death metal. And then you got a band like Atheist that pushed tech death into the equation of a subgenre of death metal. So that's pillars to me with that stuff.
I know, and I'm not going to go into all those bands again, but I'm tired of people. They take one record by a band, and then all of a sudden they deserve to be above all those other bands because people just jerk off about that one record. It's like, if I go put out a jazz pop album tonight, it doesn't mean I'm the king of jazz pop.
Yeah, well, I see what you mean.
It's stupid. And it's also ignorant on the author's part to put something like that. But again, I don't wear a denim vest, and I'm not 25 years old, and I don't fucking jerk off to my mother's panties, and I don't watch fucking YouTube videos where literally I wanted to tell you all this. This is Alexis, you and Corey. This really made me mad last night. No, this is real, and I wanted to share this with our fans. I never got to get a Nintendo Mini because hoarders took them all up. So I had to pay through the nose to get one recently because I wanted one. And it may even be a fake, just to share that with you guys too. I don't know yet. We'll find out. If it is, it's going back. But there's this piece of shit kid on YouTube that buys them and then tears them up with a hammer.
I've seen him. He's still doing stuff?
He needs to seriously... I literally want to go to his home, take all his stuff, and then I'm going to skin him alive, and then put him through a meat hook. And we'll have Genial Chow's chicken. And there's my racist comment tonight.
Don't y'all buy stuff before?
I don't buy stuff and tear it up on YouTube in front of people.
You tore it up?
With a hammer, yeah.
With a hammer.
Oh.
They do the hammer test. I've seen people do that.
He thinks it's funny. Well, I'm going to do a hammer test on your family.
To withstand hammers.
Do a hammer test on your little ball sack.
No, I'm going to do one on his family. I'm going to give him the leather face. You're going to get the Gunnar
guys,
Hansen.
if you want to piss the doctor off, you do a quote unquote review.
Yeah, get stuff that I want and tear it up with a hammer.
That's just asking for an appointment.
Well, it's stupid. I don't understand the point of that. I guess I really am old when I don't understand why somebody tearing up something that's rare with a hammer when you could have sold it for $1,000 on eBay doesn't make any sense to me.
No. Here's another honorable, not even honorable, this should make the list too. Coroner's Punishment for Decadence.
See, I would actually have to say No More Color.
You do No More Color?
Yep.
Even over R.I.P.?
Yes.
I guess I do Punishment for the Age, because that's like 88. It's still kind of new. And also people if you like Swedish death metal, you're gonna go fucking Dissection or Entombed over Coroner and Dismember. I don't get it. Two superior Swedish bands. And you're going to pick those over those. I guess it's more cool to pick,
People think that listening to, listening to
Jeff
stuff...
Fahey's Coroner right now. He's doesn't know what's reality and what's not, so.
But that's we'll wrap this up. That's kind of what I think. I just kind of threw all that out there,
let's recap the actual list here. The good.
The only band from California that gets an honorable mention is
Possessed.
Autopsy.
And Possessed.
Possessed made the list.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm saying.
The only honorable mention, though, is...
Let's go over the actual list here. So we got 7 churches by Possessed. We got Death's Leprosy. Cannibal Corpse are just going to do the first 3. We'll just leave it at that. Even though I put Butchered just because that's the first, with the album art.
And I'll say Tomb for me. That way we both picked a record.
Yeah. So we'll just do Cannibal Corpse first 3 records.
And Tomb is my favorite album.
And we got Retribution by Malevolent Creation on there.
If you guys, listen to it, I just, to me, they were firing on all cylinders on that record. The cover art is unbelievable.
We got Deicide, Amon's Feasting the Beast. Got Effigy of the Forgotten by Suffocation. We got Imperial Doom by Monstrosity.
Mortician Hacked Up for
Barbecue. Mortician Hacked Up for Barbecue. Immolation, Dawn of Possession.
Agreed.
Morbid
Angel Covenant.
Yep, Gorgut's Considered Dead. We've got Cryptopsies. Not So Vile, of course. What else do we throw on there? Got Atheist.
Monstrosity.
Yeah, I said that one. Imperial Doom.
You did, I'm sorry. I'm trying to...
We got Atheist Piece of Time. Do Coroner No More Colors for the Doctor. For me. Punishment for Decadence.
I mean, all I got to say this: you put in No More Color, you listen to, you go YouTube wherever you have to listen to it at, Spotify, whatever. Die by My Hand.
Oh yeah.
Die. Bye.
See, I like Mass Jackal off of Punishment.
Die.
Love it. We could even throw in an Ever-Flowing Stream from Dismember. If you guys want, we can throw that in there too.
Please.
It's great. It's Swedish death metal. It's from the other side of the fucking world. See, we got Deep Profundus from Vader.
Mm-hmm.
Also, Ultimate Incantation. Kind of split down the middle there. And Black Force Domain, Crisian.
Yeah, that record's really good.
I don't remember what else we put on there. There's a lot.
Well, people get the idea. That's
all good stuff, and
maybe I'll formally write it or something.
Utopia, Harmony Corruption by Napalm Death.
That's great.
Yeah, so I mean, and you can see where we're kind of going with this. It's not like the death metal album's definitive. It's more or less what brought it there and moved it forward, And I think we have a pretty solid list.
Well, when I saw Rednecks buying, Morbid Angel Covenant, I was like, that thing's selling.
It's still selling, yeah.
Now these hicks are like, I put beer here at beer. It's like, okay, well, that thing's selling,
Right.
And actually, I'm going to do something real quick while we're finishing this up. And I looked at this recently, and this is actually just really interesting.
All those records, I think, are perfect examples of.
And this is a fact. This isn't my opinion. You guys ready? This is reality. This is right here. I'm looking at it, and we're gonna do the top 4. These are the best-selling death metal bands of all time. Cannibal Corpse is number 1. Deicide's 2. Morbid Angels 3. 6 Feet Under's 4.
6 Feet Under. How about that?
It's 4.
You know why? Because of Chris Barnes.
Yes. And the bands after it, I'm going to skip one because I hate them. Death is next, then Napalm Death, and I'm not mentioning the other stuff. So yeah.
There you go. Still all Florida. Except for Napalm Death, of course, but
Well, that's the beautiful thing about Cannibal. Cannibal's your New York, Florida.
It's your
combo.
hybrid.
It's beautiful, but it proves that's where that was coming from, not from California. Mm-hmm. It's an East Coast thing. Now I'm gonna pull up the rest of this list just to see where the rest of the stuff ranks, just because I'm curious.
We got the big guns.
Now, amazingly, now listen to this. Now this is interesting. Obituary and Carcass and Entombed all made this list, but they're all below the stuff that I mentioned.
Yeah.
Now this is reality. This is the reality, kids. This is amazing. These are the top-selling death metal albums from the SoundScan era, which was ended in the late 2000s and goes all the way back into the 87 when
Before
CDs were
digital.
Correct.
Shit.
This is reality. Morbid Angel Covenant.
Best selling.
Deicide Legion. Cannibal Corpse the Bleeding. So that's record sales.
Yep.
I'm pretty sure I didn't hear At the Gates or Entombed on that list. You know who else was? So there you go. So Suck My Florida Dick. There's Morbid Angel, Deicide, Eat a Dick.
And then Cannibal.
Oh, and yeah, of course Cannibal, yeah. Cannibals was the Bleeding. That was their best-selling album they've ever had.
Yep.
Which I didn't know that. I would figure Tomb
because
would have been because
that
right. Yeah.
That song was on the soundtrack because Jim Carrey made was it Warner Brothers put it on there.
Yeah, and Jim Carrey. You don't see Jim Carrey wearing an Entombed shirt or an At the Gates shirt. He's in the Cannibal
Universal.
Warner Brothers.
It was Warner Brothers.
Yeah.
Well, whoever he told Jim Carrey battled with them left and right to put Hammer Smash Face on the movie soundtrack, and they did.
Yep.
Because they weren't going to put it on there.
I remember going to see that movie, and they were touring The Bleeding.
Yeah.
Even though that was Tomb.
And that was when they implanted into Florida because it was a Florida movie, and they had the best-selling Florida death metal band at the time. Well, I guess ever.
Well, it's funny. Well, no, ever it's Morbid Angel. If we're going to go buy an album, and then the two below it are Deicide. Deicide's first and second album. And that's reality. So you can wear your denim vest with your stupid foreign band on it, but the reality is California it's Florida and New York, and that's it. You can't argue with facts. That's the end of it. And obituary stuff sold.
You can't argue with Jeff Fahey.
And even though I don't like obituary, they're still down there. I want to talk about Schmier a second. Schmier was amazing. Got a full-depth interview for you guys to listen to. It's really cool. We were drinking some beers. I ended up getting plastered with him later that night because he kept handing me Stella Troy. Started out with Corona, which mixing those two made me really sick, but I get sick anyway. I get sick if I have anything. I could have a Happy Meal and I get sick, but we had a really good time. He was a gracious host, and I honestly just can't believe that I got to hang out with him. He was super nice. I will say this: the rest of the bands on that bill were a bunch of tool bags, and I hope they all rot in hell. The rest of that bill was garbage.
Yeah.
Jungle Rot are a bunch of classless old losers. I think they're from like Jersey or some northern toilet that I wouldn't fucking stop and piss in. And that Warbringer band, another California garbage, and their crappy thrash music with their receding hairline drummer that thinks he's hot shit. That fucks Atlanta whores that get fucked by every band that comes through there. So I hope you get crabs and AIDS. But yeah, Destruction was fucking great. And he was a great guy. And I got shook down by the security, and Schmier battled for me. It was awesome. He's a great guy. Great show. Definitely go see them again. I've seen them a couple times. I got to see them with Sepultura the last time they came over here. They were the direct support for Sepultura.
Nice.
But yeah, it was great. Great show. I hope you guys liked the interview. The interview was a lot of fun. I had a lot of fun talking to him, and it was just really cool, man. It's just super to meet you. They immediately meet you on the bus and start handing you beer and hugging you, and it was a cool experience.
He's a true German.
He is, man. He's cool, but
there's True Fahey on the screen.
Well, it's fun. He sounds like me too. He's very mouthy. He doesn't care what people think or what his opinion is about stuff, and he just doesn't give a shit, and he just tells it like it is.
People learn that's how you have to do it after a while.
Well, if you're serious about your art, I think you have to kind of shut yourself off to other stuff and keep your art true. And I respect him for doing that. That's one of the reasons that I like him. And I want to promote they have a Kickstarter thing that they did for Thrash Anthems 2 that comes out, I believe, either at the end of this year or beginning of this year. They've never put a street date on it, but I believe all those pre-orders will probably be closed by the time you guys listen to this. But you can try and see if there's anything left. But he's just, what a great guy, man. I actually donated.
Good.
I gave him $50, so we'll see what I get.
Awesome.
But yeah, because I felt like the experience, I mean, was worth way more than that to me, because I had more fun, honestly, at that show than I have in a bunch. I had a really good time at that, and he was just a really nice guy. And you know how those trolls ended up on that bill, I don't know, but whatever, it happens.
Now, there's an actual lawnmower in the film that's trying to kill this dude in his living room. He was just trying to watch some wrestling. Good old-fashioned
wrestling.
Yeah, you got fucking Marty Jannetty on the screen or something.
Looked like Tito Santana.
Is that right? Oh, the rarest figure you can buy from Marty Collector.
Should have got you that
Matty
for your
Collector.
birthday.
Yeah. Holy shit.
And this scene, I want to talk about that, what it just showed. That was initially what this film was supposed to be. I was watching the behind the scenes on this. This whole film was supposed to be a slasher.
Which is him killing
and the director got a hold of it and was like, no, I'm going to do this whole cyber.
He just dropped acid for the first time and made this movie.
He's going to do the Captain Power, Nintendo.
Captain Power.
Power Glove.
Yeah, Power Glove movie. Jeff Fahey and James Bond. There's like virtual reality fucking computer style.
Oh, and I want to say this too.
There's a lot of, like him, that guy, there's a lot of people in this fucking movie that have been in a ton.
Yeah, that guy's great. He's in a bunch of stuff. Friday the 13th, I want to talk about what a great game that is.
Yeah, Doctor and I finally play it at the same time.
It's great.
Want to mention that while it's okay to once in a while have a good time with your friends and kind of, you know, help Jason after Jason or vice versa, but don't sit there and just boot. If you know that everyone's dead but like one person, don't just sit there and boost your points. Can you just play the game?
And the team killing is ridiculous too. I've run into a lot of the team killing lately. I was trying to help a guy get out in the boat, and he literally cussed me out through my TV and then killed me for no reason.
Left you high and dry.
Yes. But I will tell you something funny. The next round that I played with these assholes, I actually stayed in there, and I took my mic off so I didn't get kicked for cussing. I sat and watched them, and the two idiots got in the boat that team killed me, and they were taking off in the boat. Jason actually pulled them out of the boat and killed them. I swam out, got in the boat, and left.
Like, thanks.
So thanks for the boat. Oh, and another thing, I just wanted to let you know that Corey and I do take photos of people that team kill, and we do send it to the administrators.
Yeah.
Team killing in that game is ridiculous. If you want a team kill, go play Call of Duty with your redneck cousin and whatever your butt fucking buddy is that you play your stupid games and eat each other's boogers and act like you're tough, hiding behind a gaming console. But don't come in that game and start team killing me. It's just stupid. I don't know why people do it. It ruins the mood of the game too.
Yeah, because you're trying to get killed by Jason. You want to get killed by some preppy fucking counselor dude.
No.
It's like, if you want to... I'm sorry you're not Jason this round, but, you know, maybe next time.
Well, there's no reason for people to act like that anyway. I think it's tacky.
It's also, people are in parties with other people and they get split up and somebody's Jason and their counselor's trying to help Jason out, but it's like, let him kill everybody. You know, that's the whole point. You know, it takes the fun out of being Jason if you got a counselor there that's like team killing other people, or, you know.
Well, to quote you and to use your joke.
I'm telling you that there's a part. Look at the Jeff Fahey in this right there. This is Bob Ross and Jeff Fahey. He's like about to blow his wad.
Job Strobe.
There's a part, and I actually recorded it as a video clip while we were playing. There's these people just This was actually, they weren't together though. This was the funniest part. And now he's a
demigod.
Yeah. He's like, I am Zool. I am the gatekeeper. I don't know. He just looks ridiculous. This looks like a Gumby episode.
What happened in this movie? It's Walt Disney's The Lawnmower Man.
The Lawnmower Man. It looks crazy. No, but this guy, and they weren't together. It was just a terrible Jason, and he was chasing him around a living room in one of the cabins, and they were running around in circles, and I don't know how the guy was getting away from him every time.
Pierce Brosnan looks like Highlander in this too. He does.
Highlander.
Tonight, Pierce Brosnan stars on Highlander the series.
Here we are.
No, but I mean,
born to be king.
The Benny Hill thing. The Benny Hill thing.
The universe.
The Benny Hill thing is real. This stupid.
I recorded the video clip of them. I have to show it to you on here after we're done with this because it's funny. And I'm gonna upload it to YouTube. I'm gonna get it off of there onto my computer, and I'm gonna put the Benny Hill.
Why don't you actually just play it tonight, and I'll put the Benny Hill theme while you're actually running around. You should actually.
Well, I'm gonna put it on the page, and I'll put it on the Phantasm page. It's funny, just for you guys to hear it and to see it. It's pretty ridiculous, but that's the fun of the game. That people are taken out is what they were doing. I think it's hysterical. That there was a real Benny Hill shit going on while they were trying to play this game. So yeah, game's very fun if you do it right, but if you got some assholes that are just...
I don't know why people have to cheat on that game. It's like, it's just not necessary to cheat on that game.
Like, dude, look, it's one trophy. You don't need it. It's not a real trophy. So just play the fucking game. That's all you gotta do. I get it, I do, that you wanna, you gotta get your thing. But in reality, you can just play the game and earn your achievements correctly. And you don't have to make your all these other people bored, because honestly, this is probably the funnest game to spectate and to be dead or to be loading into a game and seeing, because it plays out like a real Friday the 13th movie.
Sure.
But when you got people jumping around and purposely standing around and just like jerking off and not getting killed, it's lame. And
it is. It's pretty weak.
And you have to deal with it until these people fucking die, or they last for like 10 more minutes. It's like, I don't want to watch this for 10 minutes. But if I leave the game, I get a fucking penalty. So it's like, if you guys are going to be the last ones standing, you need to just get it over with and, quit boosting, earn it honestly and on your own time, because if I'm a spectator, I can't leave without getting penalized. So please just play the game and enjoy it. It's only fun if you play it. It's not fun if you're just...
Well, I was talking to somebody about this movie recently, and they were saying how cheesy and bad it is, and I'm like,
There's no slashers are. They're cheesy and bad. That's what makes them great.
Well, I don't actually think this is cheesy and bad. I actually think this movie's a lot of fun.
Oh, I thought you were talking about Friday the 13th.
No, I'm talking about this.
No, this movie's the shit.
And people make fun of it, and I'm like...
It scared the shit out of me when I was a kid.
Me too, and I'm like, if you want to look at it like that, that's fine.
Yeah, he's like deleting that dude. He's Matt Hardying him. And The Matrix would have never existed without this film.
I agree. That movie's overrated as fuck, too.
They're fun, but this movie's a total mindfuck, and this is, 92. And it's just a visually crazy mindfuck movie.
That guy's in Total Recall.
He's also in Breaking Bad. That's fucking Hank Schrader from Breaking Bad. Forget his name, but that's him.
Yeah, he's a good actor.
He is.
Remember, he's the weird face guy. It's like...
Oh.
He's in a bunch of stuff. I can't even tell you.
His name is Dean something, or... Fuck.
For whatever reason, as a kid, I loved this movie. I don't know why.
I did too. That's awesome. Dean Norris, that's who it is. He's the shit. I do. I want that. I want Jeff Fahey's suit. I think it's badass.
It is.
It's like, suck it, Tron. He's showing Pierce Brosnan his new digs. I'll have access to over 5,000 other databases. It's just a different movie, and it plays out like a slasher. It's also like a weird, reality of Nightmare on Elm Street or something, because you can get in your head.
It's just cool. I just think this movie's neat.
Jeff Fahey's a good actor. The cast is really good, like down to the. Not even the supporting actors, but
Pierce Brosnan did this and then did Bond.
Yeah, just like the appearances in this movie, like him. I mean,
he's in Tango and Cash.
Yeah, it's just crazy. Like all the actors in this movie are really good, and we're in a ton of shit, especially at the time. So I mean, it's just a good movie.
I always thought this bald guy was weird. He's like some kind of like albino killer or something.
Yeah. Looks like Kane, the wrestler.
Yeah, it does.
Kane. Forget what else he's in.
Corporate albino Kane.
Yeah. Hellfire and albino. It's Albino Brimstone, that's the name. I don't know what else he's in. He's in a lot of stuff, too. I mean, everybody in this movie is like, wow, he's in like every fucking movie.
Well, the fun thing about this movie, like I said, that for some reason, this and Running Man were things I wanted to watch all the time.
Yeah, they're kind of similar in a way.
I'm pretty sure that the guy that he mows lawns with, he's completely controlling his mind right now. He's just using him as like a cab driver. It's his Uber driver before it was cool.
I wonder if he mows his bush with like a mini lawnmower.
Maybe.
Hi.
Maybe. It's always possible.
I'm answering a thing.
I always forget about this kid. This kid's in like every movie.
It's from a meme page, but it's like, pick a number and I'll answer honestly.
I saw
it's like
that.
really stupid ass retarded.
I saw that.
Yeah, and it's fun. Blake and I are doing them at the same time.
Kitty, you gotta call that.
Kitty.
But yeah, most of this film, when I first saw this, I saw it at the theater when it came out. And I just started driving. I remember when I got to go see this, so I was really excited to go see this movie. And I don't know, it's just cool. It kind of looks like Stargate, the television show that was on Showtime, like about 6 years later. But I don't know. I don't know why I like this movie. It was supposed to be a slasher about a guy that used a lawnmower to kill people, which I guess eventually became, not that they're connected in any way. Peter Jackson's Dead Alive, but great film. My favorite Peter Jackson film, actually. And but this film, the cast and everything that was going on with it at the time, I think this movie's very ahead of its time, because this movie's very like internet before there was internet, and computers before computers were very prominent in people's lives like they are now. And that's the part of this that I think is interesting, is because this virtual reality shit is real now, but they kind of predicted it with this film. And I think it's really cool, and the cast of this is really good.
Speaking of dick, take this from the Gore Christ. You know when you have to shower when you can smell your penis while you pee.
Oh my God.
Why would you tell anybody that?
Because it's relatable. You know, people can smell their penis sometimes.
So anyway,
external thing.
I'm going to use Mrs. Gorecross.
Disgusting. Thank you for telling me not to get anywhere near you later.
I'm going to, because I'm going to take a shower.
He's going to give Miss Gorecross his cheese dog, his New York cheese coney.
No.
You know, he wants some 90s cheese.
No, I don't.
God, that up my teeth. But yeah, I think this movie was
There's still pizza, but
Huh?
there's still pizza in the refrigerator.
It's neat that it has.
I ate it.
How much pizza?
I ate one piece.
That's it?
Yeah.
You can have more.
I ate a calzone. Just eat it.
it's neat that it has this much.
Of what?
It's kind of a budget because New Line Cinema actually put this out. The interesting thing is, I don't think New Line Cinema has their name anywhere on this Blu-ray package.
It's in the beginning though.
Okay, then they did. So they got this from Warner Brothers because Warner Brothers still owns New Line. That's a property they've never given up.
Everything I watched used to be New Line for some reason.
Sure.
90s, it was everything.
Yeah, it's understandable. They were a big little company. All the Nightmare on Elm Street stuff, all the Critters films, Lawnmower Man.
Mortal Kombat.
Yeah. I mean, the Blade films.
Yep.
Yeah.
Just about everything.
You know, in this movie, again, some of us make it
biggest-
this way this thing looked, but I mean, they didn't have CGI back then. This is them, using that template to try to put computer graphics as character qualities into a film. So I think
one of the biggest franchise Lord of the Rings. I just said it. New Line did was Lord of the Rings.
Sure.
Yeah, that was it.
Which again is still Warner Brothers. Warner Brothers has their hands in that, so it's just a sub company for them. But I forgot about this. The little insect things that are attacking them.
He has all kinds of shit.
I remember always watching this movie stoned, and it scared me. It was just freaky.
When I was little, it scared me.
Oh yeah, watching it sober, but to watch this fucked up, it's like, wow, this movie's crazy. Now, Lawnmower Man 2: Job's War is probably one of the worst films I've ever seen.
What is it?
Lawnmower Man 2: Job's War.
What is that one? Is that with just Pierce Brosnan?
No, neither one of them are in it.
What is it? Who's in it?
A guy pretending to be Jeff Fahey's character.
Weird.
Here, I'll pull it up here and give some specs for you.
See, I always kept thinking that Lance Henriksen was in one of them.
I don't remember if he's in part 2 or not.
I feel like he is. I swear Lance Henriksen was in one of those movies. Even if I'm proven wrong, I know he's in there somewhere.
I'm looking it up. It's a sequel to the 92 film Lawnmower Man, and which in turn was a loose adaptation of the Stephen King short story. It's also considered to be one of the worst movies ever made. Patrick Bergen is who's in it. Kevin Conway, Matt Frewer, Austin O'Brien. Yeah, it's a turd.
That's what I'm thinking of. It's not the Lawnmower Man. Let me double check though.
The film was originally titled Stephen King's The Lawnmower Man, but King successfully sued the producers for attaching his name to the film that stated the court documents that the film bore no meaningful resemblance to his story. An earlier short film, also titled The Lawnmower Man, is a more faithful adaptation in the short, and it was directed by Jim Gonis, which, by the way, that short is actually on this Blu-ray.
Wow. So I was thinking somehow I mixed these two up, but it was The Mangler, too.
After the success of Lawnmower Man, Leonard would later make a film called Virtuosity with Denzel Washington and Russell Crowe. And then Lawnmower Man 2, Beyond Cyberspace, aka Job's War. So yeah, Stephen King is. This movie's still based off of the Stephen King story.
This is where I got the confusion with Lance Henriksen. He was in the movie called The Mangler 2.
Okay.
Which I've seen. And it was based on a short story by Stephen King.
Okay.
And so the original was about a demon-possessed industrial laundry machine, which is really funny.
God, that's almighty.
There's a demon in like a private school's computer, and it forms like a virus thing and has the same abilities as like a Ouija board or something. This is what it says here. It says, the film was critically panned for, among other things, its similarity to another King adaptation, The Lawnmower Man, whose producers sued to remove his name from the marketing, given its threadbare connection to his original story and the lack of relevance to his predecessor.
Yeah, that's what I just...
Yeah.
Yeah.
So...
Same thing.
Is that you doing that?
What?
No, it's not.
That's weird. I could hear a car beep.
I do that all the time. My car's in front.
Well, The Mangler 2...
There's Lucifer, too.
Is another Stephen King adaptation, but it was also the way that the people made the movie. It was a direct rip-off of The Lawnmower Man. And Stephen King, removed his name from this.
Right.
That's crazy. Well, I don't know how I knew that originally, but that's how I got confused. Lance Henriksen was involved in The Mangler 2, which is a rip-off of this.
Right. And I think Job just turned into putty. But this Blu-ray's loaded if you guys end up buying it. It was my June pick of the month. The director's cut of this is an extra 40 minutes.
It's crazy.
So
now, is it just extra like parts of the virtual reality, or is it...
I haven't watched all of it yet.
Deleted scenes?
I haven't watched all of it yet. It looks like this, though. I mean, it's... Apparently it was available on DVD in Europe, and that's where they found the cut of to put on Blu-ray.
Huh. That's crazy.
Of course, Europeans don't like it.
Right.
It's not entombed at the gate, so...
It's just fucking weird.
It is. It's this movie. I think this movie's neat.
Looks like goddamn
James Bond versus the computer program.
It's GoldenEye before it's GoldenEye.
I remember having nightmares after watching this movie. Because this movie has a particular look to it, doesn't it?
Yeah. It does. It's just... It's like Tron, but it's 90s. It's 90s Tron. That's what it is. It's way better than Tron, though, too.
Tuna, shut the fuck up.
Oh, Toodle.
What's this kid been in besides?
Who?
The little boy. Peter.
Ew. He's like, yeah.
I love that he's got him on the cross. Do you remember this?
Yeah. Oh yeah, he killed Father McKean too in the church, like set him on fire.
Look, he's got him crucified on a cross.
Yeah.
That's raunchy. This fits Destruction too, I think.
It does. Well, he's defining reality. Redefining, anyway.
I mean, don't do this. It would be funny if you put Schmier's head on that Lawnmower Man freaky.
I might just for fun.
Or put it on the suit that he's standing in that gray suit.
Yeah. I'm going to do it just for fun.
Isn't it pissing him off? He tries to kill us at a show. Oh, God. That's funny.
This is fucking weird. We need to be the Lawnmower Man in Friday the 13th game. Have that face like.
No, that's what we turn into. That's what that's what the mediator should do when people cheat.
They turn into
the Lawnmower Man is here.
Peter is here. Ew. I've been responsible for so much destruction. Oh, that kid. Have to do some digging, but
I'm telling you, he's been in a bunch of stuff.
I don't know why this whole part's like raunchy. I don't know why.
It is.
It's just fucking. It's bad shit. That's what it is.
Imagine Tootie in 90s CGI. That's weird, isn't it? It'd be more like Lucifer, though, doing that.
Yep. It's Austin O'Brien. He was in Last Action Hero. He's the kid in that.
You want me to get her away from your stuff?
No, she's fine. I'm just looking at what she was doing.
Her food.
Yeah, the kid. The kid was the kid in Last Action Hero. He was in Last Action Hero.
That's where I know him from.
And he was in the sequel to this.
Job's, where he's the only probably returning cast
Well,
member.
no, Lawnmower Man 2 Beyond Cyberspace.
Job's War.
Job's War. Job exists as a malevolent consciousness in a virtual reality and seeks to discover the technology to hack into all the world's computers. Job contacts people.
We should get bands that are rude to us. Job's War.
Every time.
I need to start buying like a bad movie, Paul, for people that are rude to us, just in case, and that's the movie they get.
Forgot about that one. That's a great movie, kind of like this.
And
one.
you know what we do? We don't even talk during the movie. You just hit play on the movie and go to bed and turn that on record.
Did you like Brain Scan? That's a good movie.
Do I like it?
That Edward Footlong.
No, I don't like that movie.
I think it's awesome.
I don't like him.
Oh, either.
I've told you that. I don't like him in anything he's in.
That movie's good.
I'm having a drink and I'm going to bed.
Okay.
It's 10 p.m. It's my bedtime.
It's also Pierce Brosnan's bedtime, so he's got blown to smithereens.
Yeah, this is about over, I think.
I'm just tired, so I worked everything.
There's Pierce Bronson.
I didn't even volunteer. I was volunteering.
See, that'd be the best way. You get out of this whole situation, but you're still in that badass suit, and you get to keep it.
Right. I remember all that access to not access. I mean, that's one thing I remember specifically about this is all that right there. Did you ever play the video game of this?
That's like us when we try to.
Did you ever play the video game?
That's like us when we try to get interviews. Like access to not.
It is. It's me on the internet.
That's us. Yeah. We are.
Job's telling us no.
We just figured out that the Doctor and I are Job. The Lawnmower Man.
Do you remember playing the video game? What system was that on? See if you can find that.
I feel like it was a PC
My phone
game.
kept saying data roaming, so I turned it off. I don't know why the hell it's doing that.
Yeah, it was a PC game, pretty sure.
It's like, Scott, do you want to use this data roaming?
That was on Super Nintendo.
I had it.
Square Enix.
I totally had that game.
Oh, yum. Pickled bacon grilled cheese.
That sounds good.
Pickles.
As long as it's dill pickle, not sweet pickles.
Yeah, it's dill pickle. Sweet pickles are trash.
Yeah, I can't. I couldn't do that.
Says the player visits several locations seen in the movie, such as Harley's gas syrup and the BSI headquarters. The game includes true 3D level connectors that are based on the CG sequences of the movie. These involve avoiding obstacles and the occasional high-speed shooting in the VR world. There are 4 different levels: Virtual World, Cyber War, Cyber Run.
I used to play the hell out of that game.
And each takes a slightly different approach. Virtual World is set in the first person. The objective is to dodge obstacles such as trees and arches to get to the exit. Cyber War is similar to Virtual World, but some shooting stops. Cyber Run is set in the third person, requires occasional shooting of obstacles, while Cyber Tube involves fast travel and playing enemies in the VR tunnel. And that is, folks, for Super Nintendo. Also for Macintosh and Sega Mega Drive and Genesis. The game was released in Japan by Coconuts Japan under the title Virtual Wars. That's crazy. I remember seeing that game, but I'd never played it. This movie scared me so much I didn't want anything to do with it.
That game's fun. I swear it is.
I know it's not on there, but and the movie's over. I know it's not on there, but what would you do if they had that game in the fucking SNES Mini?
I'd spritz. I'm gonna spritz anyway.
Yeah. Well, let's real quick. The game is over. We'll do a would you think here in a second. But for the doctor, I know he's already blew his load over these games. But
the Super Nintendo?
I'm going to go ahead and read off some of the games.
Corey and I are actually going to stay out all night to get one because the only way you're going to get that thing, because the demand on this one's worse than the other one. And the other one was impossible to find. And we have Schmier from Destruction coming up next. Thank you guys for listening. And
buy Lawnmower Man. It's out now on Scream Factory. It was the shit. If you guys have never seen it, it's fucking awesome. I'm going to play some Friday the 13th.
Schmier, thank you so much. You guys enjoy the Schmier interview. Destruction rules.
Check out their Kickstarter
Crash
page.
Anthems
They need your fucking help.
Comes out into this year, beginning next year.
And be on the lookout for Destruction in your neck of the woods. And cheers, guys. And from the doctor and I, stay fucking gory.
It's Dr. Vincent West here with the Phantasm Podcast, and I have the honor today to be here with Destruction. And we are here with...
You're a doctor.
Yeah, it's my...
What's your specialty?
Death metal and Teutonic thrash. So, yeah. And I don't want to say your name wrong. You say your name.
Schmier.
Schmier.
Yeah.
Okay. We're here with Schmier from Destruction. And how are you doing today, man?
We're doing good. We made it. We had some problems with the bus and some breakdowns, and we luckily fixed the bus this morning in Tennessee and made it here in time. So it didn't look good yesterday for a while. So we're happy we're here and we can play, and the tour can go on. And it sucks when the bus breaks down. We had a generator problem and the AC problem, so it was kind of...
It's all in one. I was telling your tour manager that when we saw Vader, their bus was messed up, their brakes were messed up, and their AC didn't work. So, and that was like a week ago. So,
yeah, I guess maintain the buses is an important thing.
Yeah, but, it's not fair.
Most buses are on tour all the time, so they only maintain them when they break down.
Right,
so that's the problem. Yeah.
So we'll start here. You want to talk a little bit about how Destruction came about and your role in that?
I mean, we were a bunch of kids back in the day, in the 80s, when there was no scene. We were the first bunch of kids that listened to heavy metal. And I met those guys when they already had a band together, and they were looking for a bass player. And that's how they found me, basically, because I was the only one with long hair and patches and jean jacket. And when we wanted to play more extreme metal, some of the guys left the band, and then we kind of formed Destruction. And actually it was all like how it is, back in the day. It was like we never thought we would go that far or play for so long. We were just a bunch of kids that wanted to have fun and trying to break out of this fucking conservative routine. We're from the countryside of Germany, and metal was helping us to, forget the boring life that we had there.
Right.
And that's how we came together, like as a little revolution against society at the time. And it's also how our outfits came in. Like we wanted to not look like everybody with their fucking Fruit of the Loom shirts at the time, and
right.
And they're like nice pop, like popper, like haircuts at the time. And it was our way to. Our parents didn't like it, but it was our way to do our little revolution against society.
Right. Well, it definitely worked. And then next you would go, an EP or your first album?
Yeah, I mean, we got signed quite fast. The demo was out, and a couple of weeks later, we already had the first offers because we sent out to all the labels. And at the time, the scene was just starting, so labels were looking for bands.
Right.
And we were basically one of the very first bands from Europe that played extreme metal. So we had a couple of offers, and we got signed on SPV Records, which was like the label together with Noise Records at the beginning of the 80s in Germany. Right. So we were lucky to get a strong label that promoted us well, and it went very fast. Like back in the 80s, you had to record an album every year. They tested us. First album was just a one-off to test us to see if it's successful, and then we signed a label deal to release an album every year at that time, and success came fast, but also broke the band after a while because too much stuff, too fast, too many people involved, managers and stuff, and when the band broke up in '89, it was the fault of the people that were around us, because we were young kids. We didn't know what happened to us. Basically, everything was very quick.
Now, in that scene, because I've always wondered, because I don't know this, you're the man to ask about this. Destruction. So Destruction's going. Was Creator going at that time in Sodom as well, in Tankard? Sorry.
We were kind of us and Sodom. We were kind of first, and Creator and Tankard followed us. So we kind of started almost at the same time.
Wow, cool.
I mean, also our first album just came 1 year after Metallica's Kill 'Em All. At that time, it seemed a long time, but if you look at history now, it was just everything was compressed, and it happened in a very short term. And all those bands released the albums around '85. We came out with a demo in '83 already, so we were one of the first ones. I think the only German band that released an album before us was Living Death.
Okay.
And all the other bands came after us. So we went very quick at that time, and it's hard you cannot compare it to now, because back in the day there was no internet, and everything was based on watching an LP cover, and charge the music by its cover, basically.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, to me, and I want to thank you as a death metal fan, because I'm in my 40s, and growing up, I felt like your music was more heavily influential on the death metal scene than any of the American thrash stuff.
Yeah,
because it was so much more extreme.
Yeah, it was like when I met all those bands in the early '90s. Morbid Angel I actually met, and Cannibal Corpse I met already at the end of the '80s. They were big fans, and later on I met Deicide and all those bands, and they were all huge Destruction fans.
Yeah.
So we were surprised, because we didn't know that we're influenced a whole new generation of bands at that time.
Oh yeah.
And I found out later when I finally met those guys, and they told me, and they came with Destruction shirts, and it was also great to see that at the same time, some years later, all those black metal bands from Norway or Scandinavia also had the same influence. Some of those very first German thrash albums were very influential,
sure,
also on the black metal scene.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like, the German Teutonic scene, it influenced so much of that stuff. I mean, to you, I mean, in a sense, you guys are fathers of all that, death metal and black metal.
Yeah, the American metal was always a little bit more clean, a little bit better played, and the German stuff was a little bit more filthy, a little bit more evil, yeah.
Oh yeah, it's great.
Yeah.
And we'll talk real quick, Infernal Overkill.
Yeah. It was our breakthrough album. The first mini album was our door opener, but Infernal Overkill basically established us worldwide. We got a worldwide record deal all of a sudden, and then we also been touring with Slayer in Europe at that time. So we were making big steps ahead, and the album is still, a very important album for us. We still play a lot of songs of the album live,
right?
And it's still considered being like one of the best '80s thrash albums of all time. So I guess we made something right at that time.
Oh yeah, definitely. And then Internal Devastation.
Yeah, we progressed a little bit on that album already. Like my English was getting better. The lyrics were less satanic and more like critical, like more punky at that time. And also the guitar playing made big steps forward. Mike's lead guitars and all the riffs were getting more extreme and better. So Eternal Devastation also still holds some of the Total Destruction classics like Curse of Gods, Live Without Sense, or Eternal Band, which are songs people still want to hear live. And so I think it was a logical consequence for the next step for us after Infernal Overkill.
Definitely. And then moving on, we'll go to Release from Agony.
Release from Agony was two steps ahead of the time, actually. I think we progressed too much, which was the result of 2 new members also, and we wanted to, of course, show that we have progressed, but the album was a touch too progressive. On the other side, it's one of the most influential albums for all the death metal bands.
Oh, yeah.
In Europe, though, the album was the least successful of all the first 5 Destruction albums.
Really?
Yeah, so it was very successful in Japan, very successful in America, least successful in Europe. So it's like a little bit a divided sword, this album. Some people love it, some people hate it. It was also the cover at the time really shocking. So we had a lot of problems with the cover. Like parents called up the label and complained about how brutal the cover was and stuff. That was all before Cannibal Corpse came and stuff.
Oh
like
yeah.
This, so
again,
in the 80s it was different,
Oh yeah, people witch hunt everybody.
People were shocked, and you're like, for us it was a nice little provocation to cover, and I guess in the 80s people were, you couldn't even show tits in the 80s.
It's such a classic cover. I love that cover. The Tipper Gore mess and all that crap, and the PMRC.
Oh, PMRC was huge at the time,
It probably helped a lot of people sell a lot of records. I don't know if it helped you guys, but it's...
No, we didn't get the sticker. If you had the sticker, you were selling a lot of albums.
We didn't get
the sticker. It was Al Gore's wife at the time, right? Tripper Gore, that was like in charge.
And then, let's see, Cracked Brain.
Yeah, that was the album where we started recording, and during the album process, we kind of couldn't decide about direction. We changed the songs a couple of times around until the other guys came to the result that I'm not fitting with the band anymore, and they basically kicked me out during the studio recordings, which was, of course, making a huge drama out of the recording because we already invested so much money in the recording.
Right.
And we recorded with the producer of Motorhead in the most expensive studio in Germany. Went over the recording time for 3 weeks.
Oh, shit.
So the pile of money was huge, the pressure was huge from the label, so the band just broke apart. And somebody had to be the bad guy, so I was the bad guy. And so the guys finished the album without me in the end, and basically the album wasn't that successful, and it divided the fans also, and it was a difficult period for me because all of a sudden my band, my life was gone, So on the other side, it was an interesting period because first of all, I could see who are my real friends. All those ass lickers all of a sudden go away, and then you see who's the real friends. And I had to survive without the band, so I formed another band called Headhunter at that time, just to survive, to play music, which was very important for me to just still play music. Otherwise I would have maybe stopped playing music, cut my hair, become whatever, have a normal job and stuff, and I never did that. So it was a difficult period, but also this is, life shapes you in that direction.
And then kind of fast forward there.
The other guys did like 3 albums without me in the 90s, and then 1999 was the comeback album.
And that's
All Hell Breaks Loose.
Okay, we'll start there. And how did that come about you coming back?
Basically, it was for almost 10 years for me. The band was over. I never thought about going back or that it would happen. But of course, you meet a lot of people and they always talk to you and say, "Hey man, you gotta bring the band back together." And I always said, "No, it won't happen." Just over the years, it was getting more and more, and then people even started calling me, like promoters for festivals, like, "If you bring back Destruction, we want to book you guys." I said, "Hey, I never talked about it." And then when the Wacken Festival called me at that time, I called up Mike, the guitar player, and said, "Dude, Wacken just called me up for a reunion show, and what do you think about it?" And at that time, he didn't want to do it. So 1 year later, Bakken called me again, and then I called him up again and said, dude, this is the last chance to do this. If you want to do it right, we should meet up and talk about it. And then we met up, and we made the decision that we should jam first to see if we still have the vibes together, if it works. And once we jammed together, we were like, it sounded like back in the 80s. It was like right away, it was freaking cool. And then we decided to give it a try. And we said right away, if you do the reunion, you want to do it right, you want to tour, you want to do an album, we just don't want to do just one festival. And we did it. And since then, now it's 18 years. We've been doing a lot of stuff. Actually, most productive 18 years in our lives, basically. The first 7 years were most important because they were the basement of our career.
Sure.
But the last 17, 18 years were the years where we've been headlining around the world and been touring so much, and it's been fantastic.
It's awesome, yeah. And we'll just kind of keep running through these if it's cool. The Antichrist.
Yeah.
I love that record.
Yeah, it was basically the album that established us back. All Hell Breaks Loose was the comeback album. There was still a lot of people like, yeah, let's see how this goes, and yeah, they just follow the money, and it's the reunion trend, and blah, blah, blah. And the album was solid, but maybe not groundbreaking great, and then The Antichrist was just an album with a lot of great songs and great production, and the fans really loved the album. And then also in the same year we did a tour with Sodom and Creator all over Europe, with Creator all over South America and North America also. So it was a great year and a great album, and it basically established us back in the 2000s. Like what Infernal Overkill did with us in the 80s was the Antichrist in the year 2000, basically.
It's amazing, yeah. And then Metal Discharge, I love that record too. I just listened to that the other night.
Yeah, that album actually was also a little diverse because all the bands were doing like going from more modern productions, more sterile productions.
Right.
And we recorded this album again back to the roots on the fucking tape machine, which the result sounds a little more dirty and a little more rough. And we had a lot of mediocre reviews at the time because people said, it doesn't sound powerful enough and blah blah. But for us at the time it was important to not go with all this modern produced stuff. Sure. And after the album wasn't so well received, we went back with Peter Teckler into the studio in Sweden to keep up with the production, because people that have now in the 2000s, they wanted to hear like high produced albums. Now the trend is actually backwards. Now everything goes back, but in the middle of 2000s, 2005 it was, I think.
Yeah.
The album was maybe a little bit too underproduced for the time, and I still like the record though. But I think it's
great.
I think it was so diverse because it was a little bit too early at that time that we're going so much back to the roots, like no triggers and just pure sounds and stuff, Yeah. But it was worth a try, and it's still a good album.
I really like it. It's one of my go-to Destruction records.
Yeah, there's a really great guitar sound. I think it's like really really nice guitar tone.
Oh yeah, it's great. And Peter, when you go to Inventor of Evil.
Yeah. We went back to Peter Teckler into Sweden.
Are you pretty good friends with Peter?
Yeah, good friends. Yeah.
I want to have him on sometime. I'm a big fan.
He's a great guy. He's a great guy and fantastic producer. He has a feeling for the bands. He knows what he's doing, and he's such a great guy. Also, a good friend. And for us, it was a big important thing to build the bridge from the 80s to the year 2000.
Sure.
With him as a producer for the first albums. To not lose touch to what's going on at the moment,
Right.
Therefore, Peter Teckler was a big step forward and did a new career. So I'm always thankful for that, and we became great friends also.
Yeah, he's awesome. Inventor of Evil, I like the cover art for that too. That's really cool. It's a cool record.
We brought the Matt Butcher back finally on the album.
Yeah.
Fans were asking for many years, when's the Butcher coming back on the record? And,
right.
He said Inventor of Evil, it was about time.
And then the next one, this ties in with where we'll end up at the end of the evening, I hear. The first thrash anthems.
Yeah, it was actually the idea of the album came up when the fans, we've been recording over all these reunion albums in the 2000s, we've been recording always one bonus track. Right. And there's always a re-recorded old version of a classic. And so the fans kept on asking, why don't you do a whole album with those classics? And because a lot of young fans liked the new sound, the new production, and so we finally did. Of course, we knew that some old schoolers would say, "Oh, you cannot re-record the classics, you cannot touch them." But it's our songs to do what we want, basically.
Sure, yeah.
And of course, if you don't like this, just listen to the classics. And but for a lot of young kids, those thrash anthems were the door opener for thrash metal, for Schmier of Destruction. So that's why it was a great thing. And it was just in a moment where a lot of bands also were doing those re-recorded things, and you have to do it with all your heart blood, or you don't do it. And that's why we're doing now the second part of it, because we felt like also it's time to, when you record old songs again, you have to catch the spirit again. It's not just like playing them live. If you record them, it's a whole different feeling. And when we bring those songs now back into the live set, it's a much greater feeling when you have recorded them before. So some of those songs that we're going to record, or just recorded now for the thrash anthems too, will be coming into the future live set again. And that's going to be nice for the kids to hear those very old songs that we never played live basically since '85 or so.
Right. Well, it's really cool. We'll get to the second one here in a minute. Devolution.
Yeah, this is actually maybe the most heavy metal album we ever did. It was a little less thrashy, had a little bit more of a heavy metal feel here and there. It was the first album we completely produced with Jacob Hansen in Denmark, which was at the time one of the most successful producers of metal in Europe. And Jacob was a great guy. We learned a lot there, but we also, after a while, felt that his productions were maybe a little bit too modern for us, Devolution, I love the title song of the album. It has the 6/5 chorus, and it's one of the songs I still love to play live.
It's great. I mean, I don't know. It does have a classic sound to it, but I mean, I don't know. Different moods for different Destruction.
Yeah, it's a little bit different for different albums. It has a little bit more of a pure metal feeling, a little bit of less thrash.
Yeah. And then Day of Reckoning.
That was the first album with Waver on drums, 8 years ago.
Okay.
When an old drummer kind of, when we had problems musical-wise and personal-wise with the old drummer, we knew we would have to find somebody that can replace him, and is maybe even a better drummer than him, because we didn't want to slow down. We wanted to make an album that's fast and furious. So it was actually Vader that recommended us Waver.
Oh, okay.
Because they were friends, and he said, "Hey, we have this guy in Warsaw that is fucking fantastic drummer, and he would perfectly fit. He's hard hitting. He loved thrash, and when we auditioned him, he was actually blowing us away. He made the best audition, and we flew him in for the first rehearsals. We knew it was the right guy, so we could do this album, Day of Reckoning, which is basically the opposite of what Devolution was. It's much more fast. It's much more thrash.
Oh, definitely.
And it first shows the skills of Waver. And I remember that some of the German magazines wrote "Oh my God, Destruction is using a drum computer on the album." And
You're like, no.
Because the guy is just so good, that he's playing like a fucking machine, and Waver could establish, of course, over the years, and people saw that he's like a really good drummer. And now, since he's in the band, we've been also could top our live performances also, because the band goes together. The drummer is the backbone of the band, and he's a fantastic drummer, also a very good musician. He also plays piano, and he can sing and stuff. So
awesome.
Yeah, he understands what we do. That's great.
That's awesome. But yeah, Day of Reckoning is a great album. I really like that. Spiritual Genocide. I want to tell you how much I love that record. When I bought that, I was like, "This is fucking awesome." It's really good. It's one that I continue to go back to.
Yeah, it was basically when we walked away with Jacob Hansen, and it was Andy Klaassen who mixed the album, like a German guy, former guitar player of Holy Moses.
Okay.
And for us, it was never change a winning team is something that many bands do, and then they start falling asleep.
Yeah.
So for us, it was important that after Jacob, we had to find another guy that is as good as him, but maybe gives us a little more of a rough sound. And then what Andy Claassen did, he kept the album more rough. It's a little bit more brutal, everything, the guitar sound and everything. So we were very happy about this movement. And it's a great album.
It is. It's really good. I actually bought the German pressing of the CD because I thought it was cooler. The packaging's better.
Oh yeah, the German Nuclear Blast Germany always has the they have the best stuff.
They do.
Yeah.
And y'all did a lot of touring for Spiritual Genocide.
Oh yes, yeah. I think it was maybe the album we did most shows in the last years actually for. Yeah, it was a lot of. I think we went twice to South America, also twice to USA and Canada, the European tour.
We saw you with Sepultura.
Yeah. So it really was a lot of touring for that album. Yeah.
Touring, yeah. And then Under Attack, which was one of my favorite releases from last year. What a great album.
Yeah, the good thing was that we had a little bit more time for Under Attack. We said, let's take our time. Let's not burn ourselves out from the touring. Let's take our time. And we basically went from the touring back home to the studio, recorded 2 songs, did some new demos, went back on tour. And we over several months, we've been like going back and forth. So we've never been in the studio for longer than a week. So just piece by piece. And in the end, when all the songs were done, we basically mixed everything. And so out of the demos, basically, the demo became the album. So I re-recorded some stuff. But even some of the vocals on Spiritual Genocide that I was doing were like kind of the demo vocals, and I kept that going on Under Attack. That I recorded some very spontaneous demo vocals that I kept for the album. I could feel that sometimes it's when you change stuff too much around, or you want to do the vocals better and better, they get too clean, they get too clinical. I learned it in the last 2 years only that sometimes first takes are good. Back in the day, I was like, I have to do it better, and I sang it again and again and again, and that's what I learned in the last 2 albums. Is like sometimes spontaneous stuff is great, keep it that way, and then what makes Under Attack good is we didn't use any triggers. It's very pure, and has a lot of spontaneous moments, especially for my vocals that I didn't want to change around anymore. And so I like the record. I still like it, and the album is already 1 year old. So that's the good thing about record the album in little steps. You can still change it around if you want, but you also get to a final result that you're completely satisfied.
It's really good. The cover art's awesome.
I love the cover artwork. Yeah,
it's really good. I really like it. I even bought the vinyl of it, so I'm a big fan. I like that record's great. It's spiritual. I mean, it looks those great. Last 2 are.
It looks great on vinyl. I mean, the cover looks just fantastic.
It's awesome. It's really cool. And then what leads us to now and Thrash Anthems 2.
Yeah, it's when we had the idea of Thrash Anthems 2, Nuclear Blast wasn't thrilled. So they were like, ooh, a best of album. We don't know if we want you to do that. And then we said, hey, listen, we do it ourselves, and then we see how it goes. And we did the Pledge campaign. So with the fans together, we financed the album, we recorded the album. And it was going well, so the album is now done. We come back home from this tour, we're going to finally mix it. And it's going to come out for those who pledged this summer. I think it's like 20-something days left for the campaign until it closes down, so people can still pledge now. And then we're going to offer it to Nuclear Blast, and they might release it later this year, end of the year or so. We will see. They now said that they heard the album. They said, "Oh, we might want to have it." I said, "Okay, no problem." Of course, it's better when Nuclear Blast releases it worldwide and else fans can buy it. When you do a pledge campaign, it's only for a limited amount of people. But this pledge album will basically be something we never did before. It will be the most limited Destruction album that ever been released, because we're only doing 150 copies of the vinyl.
Wow.
Yeah, and we'll only do maximum of 1,000 copies of the CD, which at the moment I think we maybe only do 800 or so. And that means a maximum of 1,000 people will have this album only. in that first print version of the Pledge campaign.
Okay.
So I think it's going to be a super limited, rare Destruction album later on.
And people can still pledge for that if they want.
Yeah, they can still pledge. I think it's a 20 days, around 20 days.
Okay,
You
great.
can still go online and pledge music and put Destruction, and then
It's a limited classic you can pick up.
And the album turned out to be great. All those songs with Barber on drums now, they have such a new drive. He's such a tight drummer, and they love crazy Lombardo stuff, and it sounds really good. Yeah.
Well, that's exciting. And so eventually it may come out domestically.
Yeah, I think end of the year it should have come out with Nuclear Blast. I think when we come home from this tour, we're going to sit down and talk about it with Nuclear Blast. Yeah.
I've been plugging it on the page and the pledge campaign and everything, so hopefully you got some hits off that.
Cool. Yeah, I think usually the last week is where people start pledging again one more time. I understand not everybody wants to pay money for something that comes out in 4 months. But for us, of course, it helped us to record the album, because to produce and master a record costs still a lot of money. I mean, meanwhile, it's cheaper than what back in the day. Back in the day it was like 50, 60, 80,000 euros. Nowadays you can produce for 10,000, but it's still money, and so I'm very happy we could do a pledge campaign, we could do this album, and I'm sure the fans will love the album, because it reanimates those old songs in a very... It sounds aggressive as fuck,
Awesome.
I mean, there's some sound clips on the Pledge campaign. If you want to listen to those, you hear what I mean.
Cool. Yeah, definitely.
Very nice guitar tone, and we finally hear all the details also that Mike plays on the riffs, because some of the very old stuff sounds a little shaky,
Well, that's awesome. Well, that's really cool. And then you're going to finish this tour up in the U.S.
Yeah.
And Thrash Anthems 2 is going to be coming out. You guys can pledge online. If you're listening, you can get online. There's a couple weeks left. You can get that done. And then what do you guys have planned after you get back?
We have the first festival. We're coming home. We have 1 week off after the U.S. and then we have the first festivals. And then we're planning Russia, I think, next in autumn, and hopefully also Australia and Asia and Japan also before the end of the year. And we still talk about Creator Soul and Destruction Tankard in December, but in Europe first to test. There will be a test
That's
to
amazing.
make some European shows, and then hopefully you can bring it all over the world. They want to test it in Europe if it works out, and then maybe bring it all over the world. Finally, Miller is ready to do it, and before Miller didn't want to do it, and Tom didn't want to do it. Hopefully now it's the right time that everybody wants to do it. So hopefully it's going to happen in December. I'm crossing my eyes for that.
That's awesome. Yeah, that'll be exciting. Now the festivals. You want to talk about some of the festivals you're going to be doing?
We play the Summer Breeze Festival, which is like the new thing after Wacken in Germany. Is like growing big in the last year.
Looks like a good variety of bands too.
Yeah.
People like different stuff.
Yeah, it's a little bit more modern than Wacken. Has a little bit more modern bands also, but still old school and all directions. And it's in the south of Germany, which has usually better weather than Wacken.
Cool.
Wacken usually always has some rain and some shitty weather. And we play some international stuff. One festival in Belgium. We play one festival in Lithuania. One festival in Serbia. And what else? I don't remember. Yeah, I mean, a couple of festivals. We just finished 2 European tours, so we don't overplay the festival summer. We do like I think 6 or 8 festivals this summer.
That's cool.
And that's actually enough,
Get to see some old friends.
Yeah, festivals are always the best meeting point. Yeah.
That's great. Well, hey, thank you for doing this.
My pleasure.
And,
what's this accent? Australia?
Who, me?
Yeah.
No, I'm Canadian.
Canadian?
Yeah.
Canadian
and redneck, I guess, because I grew up in Florida.
I thought it sounds a little Australian. Australian.
Yeah.
Hey, Metal Ass, this is Schmier from Destruction, and you're listening to the Phantasm Podcast. Keep it rough, keep it metal. Cheers.
Oh, it was perfect, man. I can't thank you enough for doing this.
My pleasure,
This is
man.
amazing.